Hey, welcome back to the Match Ball Grid. Hopefully doing well. My name is Andre, and that's right, I beat that hard Call of Duty level at one point. Hopefully you're all doing well. It is April 21st, 421. Blaze it. Hopefully everyone's doing well. How's it going? It's a Thursday night. We got a stream. That's kind of how it stands. It usually stands like that. Rockman says, I wish I could stay Andre. As a Mega Man fan, I have to say I totally approve of this title. Have a good stream, and I'll pop in sometime soon. Firstly, I appreciate it, especially with someone with the name Rockman. I feel like we maybe have found we've struck a nerve in a good way, but this is a Samus stream only, so nice try. Ixron, how's it going? Macaroni, hey all, I'm also on the horns of a dilemma with the NBA playoff going nuts and work, I guess. Hopefully it's going okay. I need to say a huge thank you, Macaroni. Last week you suggested a stream. This is a guy named Matt Colville who's doing basically a listen along to the 1981 BBC teleplay production of The Lord of the Rings. And I'm 2 episodes in, and oh my god, it's so good. It's so good. I haven't read the Lord of the Rings books. I've been getting into it because I've been getting into the card game. And it's I need to watch more of it. So this Matt Colville guy, in short, you can find him if you Google it. I don't know the name of the Twitch channel. But for like the last week, he's been going through basically chapters of this radio play. And so the idea is in 1981, the BBC got together a bunch of actors and they rewrote a Lord of the Rings. So they actually added original parts and like restructured it a bit. It's the channel's MCDM. Thank you. Just the letters MCDM. And it's really good. It's really, really, really good. And the guy, Matt Colville, I'm not familiar with, but he does a lot of like apparently RPG stuff. And a couple of years ago, I think maybe 2 decades ago, he was actually hired to make a Lord of the Rings adaptation of an RPG. So he was pretty well steeped in the world of Lord of the Rings. So he knows what he's talking about. It's really cool. He pauses it and then like gives you his insight based off of the lore and based off the production and his interesting ideas. It's really cool. I've been really, really enjoying it. I'm excited to listen to more. It's like, I think 13 hours. So it's also a great thing. You can find it without Matt Colville. You can find it online and you can just give it a good old listen if you just want to go straight. Richard G, how's it going? Lego. We're going to get there. Experience Samus stream. How dare you right before Mega Man? For Mega May. What a trade. Is Mega May a thing? Is that what the month of May is? Did it need branding? I feel like May actually does need branding, but it's not like April is much better. Macaroni says, I've been watching everyone and hanging out in chat. The channel's MCDM. Oh, it's super cool. I just had it on. I didn't even pay attention to chat, but I just had it on in the background while I'm not even sure what I was doing, but it's really nice. I was like cleaning the house when I listened to the second chapter. It's great. Take his advice and put on headphones for that stream. Yeah, I believe it. I really do believe it. The audio is really good. Hopefully y'all been doing well. This last weekend, it was Easter weekend. It's Passover still going on, and I had family visiting. And it was a bit of it was looking like a bit of a circus because one of our family members went to a dinner the night before and then someone there tested positive with COVID the morning after, so that we couldn't see them all weekend. And we had people in our family who were meant to stay with them, so they ended up staying with us and we had to like reschedule everything. It was actually turned out great. I had a really fantastic time. I thought people would be stressed and it would be difficult, but it was really, really, really nice. So yeah, it's good to see my family. Honestly, it was a lovely, lovely weekend. Mega Man is a thing in some video game circles. I do it every year, but I think you gotta be a pretty big Mega Man. Ixaram, what do you do? Do you play through all the games? I reckon that's how you celebrate, right? The chat is a lot of fun because we have a lot of hardcore Tolkien fans and the jokes are great. I'm not in it enough to know. Isengren, how's it going? Just finished a day at PAX, had some fun demoing, probably won't be around too long. Yo, how's it been going? I take it you're demoing Nisei stuff. It's PAX East right now, I take it? Yeah. How's that been? Are you still in, I guess you're from around Boston area, right? Macaroni says, hey, Sangren, good job keeping the flame burning. Heck yeah. How many people okay, at PAX, people who come up to the Nisei booth, do they know what Nisei is? Do they know what Netrunner is? How does any of this work? Ixran says, I've got an interesting Netrunner question. Do you think a format should favor corp win rate or runner win rate? What are the pros and cons of either? Classically, when this question has come up, and this question has been answered by like FFG designers, I believe officially, even though I'm not going to be able to cite my sources at all, I believe the majority of design balance I've seen so far and the majority of narratives that people kind of think is interesting is that corps should be slightly favored. just because I think a lot of people like the idea that runners are underdogs, and when they win, it's a hard-fought win. Corps are meant to be, in theory, more powerful than runners, and they really have to, like, you know, get that runner win has to be snuck in underneath them. So I think I stand there. I think if one side could be favored, and I don't mean heavily favored, but like if we're on 55-45, I'd rather it be Corp winning than runner winning. That's my 2 cents. I don't know if y'all disagree with that, but I believe also FFG has said that before. If they have to err on one side, they'd err on that side. I don't know if Nisei has said the same. I just try and complete as many Mega Man games as I can. I usually do the classic series, but there's so many Mega Man games to pick from, which is the cool part. I don't know which Mega Man game I played when I was a kid. I never really played any of the NES ones or SNES ones, but I had one on PC. That was like Mega Man X7 or something like that. I just remember there's like a level on a moving train, and I didn't know what Mega Man was really because we got it on an unmarked CD. It was probably not legal. I was a kid. It was good. It was good, and it was like kind of violent, which at the time, you know, my parents weren't in for that. So it's like, oh, we've beat the system. I think Corps are also a bit more vulnerable to bad runner cards to counterbalance a bit of extra power. Yeah, I reckon so. Like a runner can just cheese a victory. It's harder for a Corp to cheese a victory, right? Sengren says, there's a short trip on the red line. Most people have a bit of a vague memory or recollection of Netrunner. Some of this is current marketing buzz level. I think Nisei, like, you can hand off, like, Nisei's selling stuff there, right? Which is so, like, such a big deal. Because that's one of the biggest issues I find with Nisei. People ask me, how do I get into Netrunner? And I say, you go to this website, and then you have to order a product off some other website that you've never heard of that kind of looks weird. At least make playing cards. I think Drive-Thru is a nicer website. And that, you know, sometimes is a difficult proposition. The fact that you can just, oh, here's a product. It's like 25 American dollars or whatever it is. That's so cool to me. It's right there, right there. Red line being public transit in Boston, Cambridge, Somerville. Yeah, that's my guess. That's really cool, man. Is PAX like alive and well? I know with you know, pandemic stuff, I don't know if the numbers are like heavily reduced or whether people are overcompensating and going out for their PAX summer or whatever that is. Being able to sell there is super easy. I believe it. It's so cool to be like, here's a pack of cards, go. For onboarding, yeah. Xaran says, I think runner versus corp is tough, especially if you're really close to 50-50. I've heard cases for both sides, but when the runner's favored, people tend to argue that more beginner-friendly and easier to learn. I don't have too much of an opinion, really. Yeah, I guess so. I think runner is inherently, like, more... It's a lot of people think it's scarier to play, but I think it's easier to play. I think it's more straightforward. I think it's easier to understand how to win, like how to like leverage your board state into a win condition. But yeah, I don't know. I always felt like Corp should win a bit more. Anything that involves making a new account and putting in credit card info, etc., is unfortunately too high of a hurdle for a low dollar value product for many. Yeah, I know. And then a low value dollar product, and then sometimes shipping isn't amazing, and they have to worry about duties, and I don't know. But that's really cool. I don't know if Nisei has any, like, I don't think they do. I wonder if like game stores are having stuff on shelves. If that's a thing, like if a local game store will like buy a bunch of make playing card stuff and sell it, I'm not sure if they can. The singer says it was quite crowded. Everyone vaxxed and masked. I think there are fewer bigger names than normal. Basically no AAA studios. Oh, fewer big names than normal. Oh, okay. This is PAX Unplugged, right? This is like the very board game one, the non-digital one. I've been to PAX in Seattle. I've been to PAX West once. It was for work. Yeah, it's no, not Unplugged. Unplugged is in December. So this is just PAX East. That's my guess. Yeah, that seems about right. Yeah, cool. My cube is 53% runner, favoring runner, and I've been thinking about the game theory about that and where I'd ideally prefer to land. I think if you're like arguing extra, and if you're spending a lot of time thinking about like 3%, I don't know if that's that big of a deal. That's like seems pretty reasonable. That's basically 50, right? Yeah, PAX East is a video game one. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It feels to me like, I don't know if you're seeing this against, I guess you're kind of seeing this in the board game industry. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but I feel like we're at the point where like the sort of lag from transition to work from home and stuff like that is catching up, where there's just less stuff to show. And also, of course, like freight and all that sort of stuff is a bit of a nightmare now. So I don't know whether it's just gonna be a slower year for like video games and board games in general. I did get to play some Pub Runner this week. I think I played my best ever game. Actually, everybody there agreed it was epic. What'd you play? I've also encountered quite a lot of people that prefer to draft runner first because reasons. It's just fun stuff to think about. I'm not sweating it really, especially not over those margins. I don't know, actually, shit. Because FFG classically did release their own draft packs. I'm not sure whether they told you to draft Corp or runner first. I'm pretty sure we always drafted Corp first to understand what the card pool was because I feel like it's more important to draft runner around corp than corp around runner. Yeah, I think so. I'm not sweating it, especially not over those margins. Yeah, those are good margins. That seems really good. Foggless, how's it going? Does that mean prepare the cannon or cannon in place of appendage? It means cannon arm. That solves nothing. It's masterwork. We're gonna be playing some Az today. Basically, there was this Az deck that that Anarcho took to the top placement at BCom, and I have a store championship. There's a Montreal store championship in about a week, if I'm not mistaken. It's on the 30th, which is next Saturday. And I need to figure out what to play. Maybe just Bigs Max. Otherwise, I want to try this out. This list is really weird, and I feel like we're gonna tinker it. But I'm feeling like just playing some good, weird criminal, maybe. We'll see how it goes. Yo, Janktivist, how's it going? Yo, Andre, happy Thursday. Hillary and I are starting Circle Undone this weekend. Any advice? Okay, Janktivist. Circle Undone, honestly, my least favorite. My least favorite cycle. Hopefully that energizes you as you start your journey. Biggest thing about Circle Undone is that there's a mechanic. This is not really spoilers because it's like huge in the marketing. But in Circle Undone, there's a mechanic called Haunted, which is basically like the version of Alert or Retaliate, but it's for investigation. So the one thing you definitely need to do is you definitely don't want to play fail to succeed investigators. Like if you go in there with Stella, you're going to have a bad time. You go in there with anyone who's like drawing thin deck, you're going to have a really bad time. Don't do that. Other thing you want to do, circle, a lot of sets like favor one stat across encounter cards. Forgotten Age favors agility a bit more than other things. It really values that, which is good because that was an undervalued stat classically. But Circle Undone is very willpower heavy. If you can go in with investigators with at least 3 willpower, you'll be okay. But I really don't love Circle Undone because yeah, it just feels really mean. I don't like Haunted. The fact that, oh, you failed and now you get additional stuff falls terribly on you. It's really, oh man. It has a really good story though, in terms of like branching storylines. That's one of the best things about Circle Undone. But the more I play it, the less I like it. Sengren says I've always dropped Corp first. Ixron says FFG always had Corp first. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. We played reboot decks, and I played Exile versus Blue Sun, both on 6 points. Had just enough to scrape it together an R&D interface run for the win by sucker bombing and double femming my way in. It was very old school. Oh, playing Fem against Blue Sun is so brutal. So difficult. Play Big Mac, still the best. I probably will. I just want to try this. This seems fun. They're called circuit openers now, Andre? No, Burden. We actually have like a store championship because we have an old store championship set. It's technically not the circuit opener, which we do have 2 of those. I don't know if they've arrived yet, but it's not exactly yet. The idea is that from FFG, the runner will have a good idea what the corp looks like. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Hey, Ochan, how's it going? How you doing? Beeb getting into Netrunner the past few days when I had been homesick after not playing for a few months. How's that been going? Hopefully you're feeling better. How's getting back into Netrunner been? Jankivist says, let's go Mystics. Yeah, Mystics, you really can't go wrong. But yeah, watch out. I don't know. That one really dunks on you if you're doing poorly, which I don't know. Not my biggest friend. Rain City Draft League does runner first. That's weird. I wonder why. Okay. We got a deck list of the week, and honestly, this is not that different than some of the lists we played for the last 2 weeks, give or take. We've been playing a fair bit of Deep Dive. It's one of the new cards, and this is a sort of like archetype that you're going to have to deal with when you're playing at your store championships or at your circuit openers. Just because there's a lot of people wanting to play this card because it's a shiny new card that if they've purchased, they have in full art. It's really good. Great stuff, Cat. And it's a really powerful win condition. We've played it a fair bit. We've won a lot of the games that we've gone off just on deep diving. Even if we didn't deserve it, we just started slamming and we just hit deep dive, hope we win. And there's really good support right now. Of course, we keep talking about how Out of the Ashes is such a big deal, and this will eventually rotate when Deep Dive is released in the whole Midnight Sun pack later this summer. But this is quite strong. This is Dana's version, went 3-0 the Genoa Standard Tournament. I'm not sure if it's a store championship or what this looks like. This list is interesting. I don't know if I fully agree with some of the things that they've done. We'll talk about it in a second. Eric rode me into playing Innsmouth. Been having a blast with it. It's one of my first campaigns. Red Clock Trish because he can't take combo from me. Woo! Innsmouth is one of my favorite campaigns. I'm playing it right now with my soon-to-be brother-in-law and Maddie, and we're having an absolute great time. We actually played the first 2 scenarios of Circle Undone and wiped, and we're like, just nah, let's go play Innsmouth. Have a good time. So, Things about this deck, it's pretty straightforward, and from the write-up, this is also like a very one-dimensional Tau deck. Tau is a really good ability when you want to run your 3 centrals and go off, because you can really reposition res dice, you can actually pressure the remote to some extent, get their credits down, you move things around to some extent. But the idea that you can move like particularly troublesome ice off of central servers or move it around mid your combo run if you do steal agendas can make things a lot easier. It's a really cool ability. Especially when they want to try to put their end runs on the remote server, not their taxing ice, you can move things around. You have a lot of control, even if you might not know what you're doing because everything's face down. Now, what we've seen for most of these decks is the biggest thing you want to do is draw as quickly as possible, assemble your combo, which is 2 or 3 out of the ashes in the archives, and in your heap, excuse me. You want as many of your deep dives in hands as possible. If the matchup is dependent, you want your Caldera down just to make sure you don't take any net damage on the way and lose your deep dives. So things like the new Anemone, things like Kakugo, hit, snare, all this sort of stuff is really important to deal with. And you're kind of good to go. At that point, you might have to spend some extra runs if you have to deal with things like border controls, Nisei Mark IIs, any sort of hard end the run abilities. So that's why having extra Out of the Ashes is good, and you need enough credits. Now, where this list gets interesting, it spends a lot of influence in some, I think it's mostly Begulter and Unity that I don't fully understand. Begulter's a really good breaker. It's one of the best killers in the whole game. But the issue is this deck doesn't run a lot. I don't know whether we really want to spend 4 influence on a card that we might not even use in a game, unless there are sentries on the central servers, which not often there are, let alone sometimes you can just let those fire if they're tag based or they're net damage based. So spending 4 influence on this, maybe you want to spend 3 or 4 influence instead on Revolver, which is a cheaper way to deal with it, and you probably get your value's worth. You also don't have any simul chips, so if you lose one of these pieces, it's a problem. Not that you usually do, but you also can't like clicklessly install these on your combo turn. You have to install them straight up. Unity is also strange. Like, you have access to Euler, which is really good on the turn that you want to go off. If you need to break 2-3 code gates on the same turn, you save so many credits with an Euler. Now, you do have to install it on the same turn that you're running, so you do need something with a simul chip, while Unity on its own is actually a really bad decoder until you have everything else installed, and you might not have your paperclip installed already during the runs, or even your Begulter. Well, you probably will have your Begulter. So this is an interesting breaker suite, and I feel like the Begulter influence could be moved somewhere else. I don't think there's much else to say. Everything else looks really good. You have Deuces Wild. I was playing Moshing in the other list that I was playing, and it was a bit difficult to play, honestly. But this is really good. This is basically like Moshing to some extent. You also get some Expose if you want to make some early runs so that you can use your Tal ability a bit more intelligently. And you have a single Boomerang, which is not that easy to play. You could actually play it on your combo turn, considering if you have enough clicks that you've already banked up and spent on your Out of the Ashes, you can actually get the value of this. Or you can actually Boomerang an ice and then move that after they score an agenda onto a central server, you Boomerang remote ice, and then you pop off on your combo turn. I think that's actually pretty cool. And we have a single Beth, of course. We have Peace in Our Time, and that's kind of it. It's good, I guess. Let's try it. Let me just catch up on chat. Dropped all the code gates and decoders works either way, but IMO, you have way better things to do with your time than try and do meta teching with your draft picks. Are congratulations in order? For what exactly, Macaroni? It's me, your friendly neighborhood Marvel Champions correspondent. New hero designed by MJ Newman is sweet. What did MJ design? Did MJ design one of the new Spider-Man ones? Ochan says that's seen. I've seen less Light the Fire than I thought there would be getting back. Surprised you can still play upgrades fine as a corp. Yeah, Ochan, it's really interesting, right? Because the power of Light the Fire and how often you're going to see it is dependent on how many people are playing defensive upgrades. And I don't know how, like, it's hard to tell what the competitive meta looks like right now as opposed to like the casual JNet lobby. I think you're still going to see people playing PD with like your HB Managram Skunkworks. And I think Light the Fire is worth its weight in those matchups for sure. It does a heck of a lot. It's still a very nuanced card. I still think you can play defensive upgrades. I just don't think you can rely on them. It's also weird like which decks are playing them, because the majority of Anarchs I've seen right now are big maxes that do play Light the Fire, but like don't consistently play Light the Fire, if you know what I mean, right? Boo, Peace in Our Time. I'm actually really worried about this, Sengren, because Peace in Our Time is obviously quite good. It gives us a lot of money for a single card. We don't want to run that often. And it gets the corp up in credits so they play Beth, Kilrain, Chang. But I feel like the best thing that your opponent can do against these sort of decks is just jamming the remote and go. And giving them, you know, the extra 5 or credits, like it's maybe exactly what they need, because they need to score out really quickly and really aggressively. And with all the tempo positive agendas, like if you score one good agenda, you're kind of pretty going, right? So what can you do? You mentioned about to be a new brother-in-law. Oh, it's not. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, my sister's getting, I don't know. Brother-in-law means what I think it means, right? But my sister's getting married in August. We're all really excited. The Anime Web Warrior. Oh, cool. Yeah, that's the Sinister 6 box. Man, I really wish I liked Marvel Champions a bit more. And I feel like probably if I played now that it's beyond the core set where things are a bit more interesting, I'd probably like it a bit better. But like the Sinister Six and like that kind of genre of Spider-Man, I grew up with pretty heavily, so I'm pretty jealous. Sanger says exactly, peace in our time is a lot of gas for the corp. Yeah, I believe it. I'm kind of actually worried about this. I wonder if we need it. Again, maybe we can save some money on playing Oiler and then simul-chipping things in so things come in cheaply. We don't play the install costs too, but yeah, I'm a bit wary of this. Hey, nice, how's it going? I feel like LTF is mostly force BC pop versus PD. Yeah, no, it's true to some extent, right? But I feel like you're kind of happy when that happens. The idea is that like if you're light the firing on the remote server, they border control it so that it eats that trigger and then the Managarm is still good, but you're generally okay with that. I feel like it's weird because like if they're I guess they can play on the matchup, but if they're border controlling the remote server, then like these sort of things get better. But I don't know what the meta looks like what percentage of decks you expect to deal with deep dive, what versus like light the fire. You don't see that much light the fire in Shaper, but it's like very playable anywhere. Harder in this deck because you have to take the brain damage and maybe throw one of these out. All right, let's go. I don't know. How's everyone been playing deep dive? Because from my understanding, I know Sengren, you talked about this a bit more, is like having it as a cute win, like an additional, like the notoriety point in like just standard Shaper decks, as opposed to like these, you know, largely one-dimensional, but still pretty successful decks. We're a runner. Tau Olympic diver. I also, as good as Tao's ability can be, there is to some extent, you might want to consider just playing, what's his name? Lat? You do have 5 more cards, so you're a bit less consistent with the deck size, but you do get the free card draw usually. Unless they're going really fast, and then they have few cards in hand, it's hard for you to go down to a few cards in hand, right? Just watching these streams seems like Deep Dive has been way more impactful than Light the Fire. Yeah, no, I agree. Watching these streams, it definitely does look like that. Again, a lot of this comes down to like, what's it called? Out of the Ashes existing and not existing. But it's also very easy for someone to see Deep Dive and build a deck around it. Like Light the Fire isn't an archetype, right? So I think less people are like really trying to push that envelope as opposed to like, oh, a Deep Dive deck, this seems fun. I can see how to play this. And then they kind of go. So we'll see, like eventually, once we hit a competitive season, iron out itself a bit. But I did not think Deep Dive would be that good. I wasn't that excited about Deep Dive more accurately because I don't love these sort of like these Apocalypse-esque decks that just say like, oh, I'm going to just run these 3 servers. I don't care what you're doing. Like, I just don't love that sort of Netrunner. I mean, until you draw 6 times, Lat is worse than Tau, right? Arguably. Like, then at that point, are we considering Isla instead? Basically, you're saying the extra card draw is... Yeah, I guess it is just straight up canceled by the deck size. I think you are right. Light the Fire helps existing decks, and I imagine it'll show up in the competitive scene. I have no doubt it'll show up. It's a really powerful card. And its existence is going to have an impact on the meta for as long as it's in the meta. It might not be obvious. But again, people need to start playing it for people to respect it. It's that sort of Cold War that makes me really anxious about deck choices before tournaments. I never like those sort of kind of matchups where it's like, oh, it's really one-sided because you teched poorly or whatever. But I don't think that's the case. The kind of decks that people are probably hiding right now, to some extent, but like a lot of these decks I don't think are particularly flashy. Like you can probably play any list that won Worlds or like, you know, topped at Worlds and have a good time. Are you going to build your store champ winning deck later? Yeah, totally, Smendrix. We're going to, well, we can hope, but yeah. We're going to be building some ads for sure. Isla could be kind of interesting with Deep Dive. Less chance of losing them to random damage, maybe. Yeah, to some extent. I think if you're really worried about that random damage thing, like you could just consider playing Bookmark. I think that's still a legal card. Actually, is it? Oh, wow. No, it hasn't been for a while. Uh-oh. Yeah, maybe. You have to get lucky, and then you still have to spend a click to draw it. So that's generally worse than just having damage protection. Yeah, I don't know. I'm low on all in combos because I think 2 Crimson PD just laughs at them. Yeah, I think so. I think that stuff is an issue. And there's like some really good ice in that deck that these decks can't really deal with too well. I don't know how excited you are of resing like an on-sell on R&D, but like it's kind of expensive for them. I don't think that's a rate play always, but yeah, just Chrisms, you're good to go. And score really aggressively with PD. Like they have to be, every card you put in the remote server, they're threatened with seamless launch, so it is what it is. Making 2 new decks, or are you settled in Big Max? I'm not settled at all in Big Max. I need to spend some more time playing it. I think everyone said it's good, and I think it's pretty obvious considering Worlds. It's good. I think it needs a bit of skill. I'm like pretty bad at managing the deck when it gets to the bottom or like to the mid bottom, understanding like when to aggressively labor rights, at what point you want to maybe opt to pull in your rebirth sooner than later. So I need some more experience. But I'd definitely consider it because it's a fun deck regardless. Oh, Deep Sun, Deep Space, Blue Sun. Not even, whatever. Not gonna fix it. Hey. Thanks, you too. All right, so this deck usually have one or two border controls. Chrism Grids are not that common in Gagarin Deep Space. There's a chance if this is a sort of deck that actually wants to force interaction by playing Urban Renewals, that's an issue for us. Opening hand, we have Diesels. We still have Hats, Deuces Wild, Daily Casts. This hand's okay. I think we just Diesel. Yeah, this is okay. We're not going to be able to trash a lot of their stuff, so hopefully we can pop off and win in the same turn. It also depends what sort of like Wayland this is. If there's a lot of 3-pointers or more 2-pointers, it could be just the fast advanced versions with dedication and all that sort of stuff. And we could actually put Clout in this sort of deck if we really wanted to. Oops, I'll draw. Yo, Dermatoglyphic, how's it going? Yeah, I guess so. But like, hopefully a Diesel becomes something good. I think this is a lot worse. This is a hell of a lot worse. Oh my God. Yeah, 3. Okay, there's actually a chance. Like, that's one of the good things to do in this matchup is just jam on the table. Like, just jam a 3-2. We're not going to do anything. And if they hit us with like an Ozef protocol, like we kind of lose if they hit the right piece. This is terrible. This is really quite bad. Okay. The Rizeki is, I think, a bit better than the Daily Casts. Actually, no. If we play this, will be a 4 credits next turn. If we play this, will be a 4 credits next turn. Yeah, we'll just go for this. They discard a second Out of the Ashes. I slam on Cell and R&D. They're probably not contesting the remote. Yes. Rashida, good start. They have a wall-to-wall as well. This only... They actually get all the effects on this because they didn't re-res. Yeah, I think it's always Rizeki first. I don't know. To some extent, like... Oh, okay. Well, that's a good reason. The longer it's around, the more value. Daily Cast is a set value. That's actually very, very true. Yeah, that's a really good way. And now... Yikes. That's a good reason to do Rizeki first. We need a Deuces Wild. Peace will be good next turn. Creative Commission is really good. The awkward thing is if we Rizeki, we can't creative. So I think we will just... How many? We can throw out 2 easily. So I think we'll just do Rizeki. No. Yeah, if we do Rizeki credit, we can still create a piece next turn. Oh, not that. Yeah, I think you're totally right. This goes on forever, so the longer we have it on the table, the better. This could easily be the list that we played last week, which luckily doesn't have a lot of damage, but has a fair bit of fast advance. Ice on R&D, so we're looking at usually a Rototurret, lol, Magnet, Mouseless, and then border controls. I don't think there's much else we have to worry about. No. I think we will VR-cation. Huh. Nah, actually, we probably don't. We've already discarded most of the cards that we can discard. Yeah, maybe we do VR-cation here. For 2 clicks, we draw 4. Otherwise, we can put this down. Yeah, maybe not. If we put this down in creative, we're not going to get the card draw because we already played an event. They'll be set up for next turn. We go up with Deuces to draw 3 cards, which is good. Is it Maryland? 2 cards unknown? Just kind of a race. We found 1 piece so far. There's actually a chance that we could combo off. But as soon as you run, we have to worry about hard-hitting news economic, but we're pretty good. Yeah, this is what I think they should do more often than not. Just slam on the table. The question is whether we can race out faster than they can. And we're actually doing okay. Can't use our ability. We draw 1 more after that. Okay, Earthrise is good. They could consider blanking it. It's actually better than blanking the daily casts. We are unlikely to need the Caldera. It lets us deal with Mouseless for free, though, which is kind of nice. And for free, I mean 3 credits, which is actually a fair bit cheaper than Unity. I think we actually could boomerang this ice. They could trash it, but I don't think we're generally boomeranging a remote server. So I think we consider boomeranging this. Get the Earthrise down. Hopefully they don't have a second Molly. It seems unlikely. Like, this is just solitaire to me. I don't love this. I think we just install this in credit. Now we probably draw in credit. I draw and install this, I mean. Yeah, we can play that next turn to draw 3 more. Molly is unique. Yo, totally wrongy, but they can de-res this. Like at this point, card draw is way more important to us than 8 credits off this. So I think if they had a Molly, they might consider trashing this one to res 1. Okay, we actually could consider coming off. We're just missing a single deep dive, right? And I think they could also hoard cards in hand. So if we find another deep dive, we're good. And that's where the boomerang is actually kind of cute. I think one of these could be an agenda easily. Oh, yeah. And we only need one more deep dive. So it's 1 in 18 at this point. Do we can play the sure gamble here? We actually consider last click VR-cationing just to find a deep dive so we're ready to go. I think that's actually pretty fair. I'm just going to credit and hit this last click. We're just looking for a deep dive. Nothing else really matters. Diesel's good. I don't think we're going to need another Rozeki. We probably don't need the Caldera here. This only does brain or net damage. It's too slow on this Rozeki, and then we can Diesel next turn if we don't draw with Earthrise Hotel. If we find our deep dive, we can go off here. Triple advance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're jamming on the table. It's an Ozef. Wow, they missed. Whoa, we got lucky there. Yeah, this is the scary thing. And at this point, they could consider fasting bounce. If they have 2 dedication and like a 5/3 in hand, they could hit off this this card on the table. Earthrise. No. I don't know if we just go in right now. Like we could definitely go off right now and see maybe 4 cards. That's unlikely to be the win. So I think we're going to hold off for 1 more turn. We have a VR-cation last click, so we're pretty likely to find it. Beth helps a heck of a lot too. That's a good reason to hold off. Should draw. Again, all that we care about is finding the last deep dive. We didn't find it. We could consider holding a Diesel too, because we can draw. Let's keep that. And from here, like we can always spend a click because we'll have 5 clicks on all the runs. So we could, with 5 cards left, we're going to draw our whole deck. So if we don't draw it here, we just go in and we Diesel for a click if we need to. So we'll do Earthrise first. Hopefully we draw it. We don't. We'll do order here. Doesn't matter. We'll start running. So hopefully you don't hit snare. That's the only really bad thing here. But I think there's agendas on the table. It's a Malia. No, we don't want to trash that. No, we don't want to trash that. There's a border control here. It's fine. It's just a mouseless. So we boomerang this. We can not take a net. We don't need to take a tag. They can get the credit. We also haven't seen any spin doctors. It's a border control. Shuffle that back. Actually, no, we don't want to. It's interesting. No, we don't want it because it could strand our last deep dive if we need it. There's a spin doctor. They're popping it. The shuffle's maybe more agendas than back into R&D. It's 2 unknown cards. So we access nothing really. We're going to go back into HQ. We could consider running into the mouse list, but the 1 net damage is the issue. Again, we could have installed Caldera, but we're paying 6 credits. Maybe that's easier than Unity. We might as well run HQ or the fleet run. Actually, we could consider checking the remote servers. That might be better. Same Malia, damn. Okay, well, we'll start here. Nothing. Magnet, nothing. This looks like the list we played last week. I worry that they're on the table. So we can just, what's the cheapest thing to trash here just to get more accesses? 2 hard hitting games means they don't have any in hand. I don't think we're going to trash it. Yeah, we can trash something actually. Let's trash the combo piece. No, thank you. Oh, we drew. That's really cute. I forgot about that. That's actually a really good way to draw your next card. Unlikely to win now. Okay. There's an Ozef protocol and a global food, which means we can't win. Shit. So we'll take the food because they need to score it. We'll score the Ozef. So we can't win anymore, right? We can't win this turn. We're 1 click short. Because Diesel will draw into it for sure. So we could Diesel and then access 1 card, but again, they have no real 3-pointers. It's only foods. We could check the table. I think there is something on the table. I think it's pretty likely there's something on the table. At this point, yeah, I think we will check the table. The Maryland, okay. Atlas, there you go. Okay, cool. So we could still potentially win next turn. We just have to run again, like we run. We're still gonna have 5 clicks, and then well, we have the diesel, I guess, to draw. Well, you run. Economic warfare, that doesn't matter. Actually, no, it kind of matters. No, we'll have a credit. That's a border control. Oh no, we shuffled. We don't know what this is. But they don't have hard-hitting news. We saw 2 in the deck. Oh, they're gonna consult for hard-hitting. That's actually good. That gives us a chance to win. Okay, so they should actually have boosted into the trace to put them at 14, if I'm not mistaken. They should have boosted into that so we don't have 5 clicks. Because the 5 clicks are obviously pretty good. So what we can do... Okay, we have 2 choices. I don't know what the math is thinking. We can basically, all we need to do is run, and then we'll have 2 clicks left. So we can either hope that this doesn't hit the diesel, then we'll diesel and for sure deep dive for single agenda. I think that's the better point. Yeah, it's either diesel before or diesel after. I think if we diesel after, we have a 1 in 5. We have a 20% chance of losing the diesel. And if we do lose the diesel, we still have a 50% chance of drawing. So it's 20 times 50, right? So it's an only 10% chance to whiff, right? So you never diesel before. Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, they really should have boosted down to less than 15. I wonder if it's still on the table. We saw one of these as to be a Maryland, right? This is also an unknown card. So if they hit the diesel, we still have a 50% chance. Shit. Oh no, because of Anacam. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, it's a 100% chance. Jeez. Draw. Last card. Above the law. Woo. Yeah, if they boosted. GG. If you had boosted under 15 on the HHN, you would have had it. Yeah. Yeah, we got there. Yeah, I totally forgot the Anacam draw, because I thought it would be a 50% draw, but if they hit the diesel, yeah, we draw because we trashed the thing. Didn't see your stack was at 1. Aye. Yeah, harder knows online for sure. Technically, if they did boost under 15, we would have lost there, but it was a 50% chance to lose because it was the top card of the stack. We still could have drawn it. And if they didn't hit an operation, or sorry, an event, like there's a lot of things that lined up. Yeah, the lack of boost actually did really matter. Yeah. I don't know if we came off rude there, but yeah, that's what we do. We go. But like the whole thing of them jamming on the table is exactly correct. And I feel like the turn that we ran HQ a second time with the Out of the Ashes, we should have checked the remote. Because we still don't know what server 10 is. I think we know 11's the Maryland, but like it's pretty obvious they're going to jam on the table, and I think it's the right thing a lot of times. Is this your store championship deck list? No, definitely not. Maryland? You think it's both Marylands? There's also a chance that another one is another spin doctor, but I think they would have popped it to shuffle stuff back. Maybe it's a Rococo that's waiting. I don't know what else it would be. Derm, how's it going? At 14 you draw? Excuse me? Oh, you're right. Wait, at 14 we draw. Yeah. So it doesn't win. It doesn't matter. We get the free draw. No, but that's right. Because if at 14 we draw and then they have a chance of hitting with the mouseless. You're right. Yeah, you're totally right. So this, if we're between 10 and 14, we get a free card draw. So then we would have had 4 clicks. So we have to run. So it still is the right play for them to do, right? They can also boost down to 9. Like they don't have to boost to 14. They could always boost down to 9. That's right. I think that might be the right thing. But even if they boosted to 14 and then we draw not it, we drew like the diesel, whatever was the second card. What was it? The Deuce is Wild or something. And if they hit this and they don't hit an event, we still can't win. But yeah, I think the safest thing is to go to 9. You're right. Yeah. Let's do another one. Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of it came down to whether the Anacom hit or not. Because they need to hit an event, and we were favored on that, but we could have got unlucky for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Feels really cheesy, man. I wonder how much people are gonna like tech this. Oh, Rongi's got us. Okay, let's go. Yeah, okay, this is good. They're gonna put some good ice there. We're gonna have to install it on cell. This opening hand's a lot better. This is always the bummer where you can't Anacom into gamble, but we'll set up next turn. And or have fun. Yeah, choose one. You do. Daddy the Mouseless could have worked, maybe. Yeah, it's interesting. It would slow us down that we have to put down our Unity, but dedicating the Mouseless is actually quite relevant. The fact that we boomeranged it maybe doesn't matter, but the last turn, yeah, you could consider. I don't know if triple advancing is fast enough because you're not threatening to win. But with the boomerang, I don't think it matters. We just give them 3 credits, right? This is pretty good though. Hedge fund ice go, and this could be an agenda as soon as turn 1. I think we consider checking it. Like, we could boomerang check this. I think we want to, right? Because we want to trash Maryland's. I'm worried about an early agenda steal, which I think Rongi understands that they need to do that. It's a bummer because we can't play the Earthrise or the Onacom, but I think we will do it. We have a singleton boomerang, so like this line of play is pretty safe. And this kind of encourages them to res. Yeah, it's Rashida. I think that's worth it for us. Because we still have this boomerang at ice, unless they overinstall it. Like, eventually we put that onto a central server, so they really want to trash this, which puts them back in ice. Right? Like, do we check this? I don't know. I would love to be able to install this into this, but we don't have 8 credits. I think we could run this in last click creative. Oh, or put down the Earthrise. Let's see how this goes. This is probably, what's it called? A Tranquility, which I don't know if we can afford to trash. Drawing the one of Boomerang really does help. And that's a really good card for this sort of like slow down. Ah, it's the on sell. This, we don't care about one of the subroutines because we won't have any cards. So we can just break it. So we'll trash, break the 2 that matter. So they can trash a card we don't have any. Some assembly lines. We'll take that down so they can't like fast trash install Rashida, which I'm not sure they will. This puts us down to 5, so we could still like top deck a Diesel or a Deuces, and we could Onacom into that, which will be quite good. But yeah, this is quite good. The fact that we know where this is a big deal. And we have to make sure we have a fair bit of money, right? Because we need to maybe deal with the Mana Garment central servers, which can be pretty difficult. We have to pay 5. We can't really pay 2 clicks. Let's get a cheap event. Not exactly what we want. Huh. So do we play Onacom, Creative Commission, Orb? We could do, no, we could just do, it's very similar. Onacom, Rizeki, Creative Commission, Credit Creative Commission. That seems the same. Oh, but we have another credit. This draws this card, which is okay. Hey Green, how's it going? I just got into Netrunner with a friend recently and your videos have been so helpful. I've binged all the system gateway ones and every single one has been so great. Thank you for all the effort you put into your content. Green, that's so kind. I'm really glad you've been enjoying it. I'm also really glad you got into this. Hopefully it's been like a nice ride, an exciting ride. Getting into a game is always the most exciting to figure out all the cards and how things work and like trying to figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's kind of the coolest. I'm glad that we can be part of that. How's it been so far? All right, double ice on remote. At this point, they probably have seamless in hand. They've gone through a quarter of their deck, right? And we can't really afford to check this anymore. Luckily, we do have pretty good gas. We'll just deuces from here. Is it not spending a click each turn to fish in HQ? No, generally not. Like, the chance of there being a card in HQ is actually, you know what, not that. I would say this turn, if they didn't jam, it's actually kind of reasonable. But we're basically a combo deck. We just want to get off before they kind of like get their stuff off. So I don't really love it. There is a chance that sometimes you want to spend an Out of the Ashes just to check HQ cheeky. But the fact that they have this safe remote server, like at this point, if they have an agenda, maybe they have 2, but if they have 1, they're going to put it there. So I don't love it. It's kind of hard. Like, I think you're totally right. You have to balance the pressure. You can't just sit back and do nothing. So we can throw out 2 cards safely. Daily casts into creative seems fine. We have an extra click. We want to deuces next turn for additional value. Also, it's cool if they score. Like, I don't know if we want to put the on-sell in R&D, but we could, just so this remote server is easier to contest. And then later, after they score another agenda, then we swap it off. Like, that's really fun, I think. This feels a bit too slow. I don't love clicking for credit. Get that in the bin. That's more important to get in the bin than the Onacom. At least if they score out here, they're not going to be jamming. Yeah, it's a seamless. Okay. Double seamless. Okay, no, they are going to score and jam. That's exactly what they need to do. I would say no, because PD is jamming as soon as they draw. Yeah, at this point, they're jamming as soon as they draw. With 13 credits, I don't know whether we want to pull this off of the centrals. This on R&D is really annoying for us because it is actually quite expensive. Luckily, with Begulter, we only break it once. But this pulls a border control potentially off of R&D. I just don't know if we want that more or less where it is. I think we can try it, but this actually might be wrong. I'm not sure if this is the correct thing to do. They generally win in 3 agenda scores, which is a problem. Tranquility to draw cards, so that could be an agenda because they didn't have full control over it. Order doesn't matter. Besides, you do Out of the Ashes if you do it last. Keep going. . Yeah, this is where peace feels really bad. Spending 2 seamless here makes it harder for them to seamless the GFI to some extent. They haven't played any like I just don't know if they always play 3 spin doctor. I don't think they do. But you're right about that. I kind of want to contest this, but like with a single boomerang, we don't get that far. Like if we hit a gatekeeper, it's really bad. If we hit a Hagen, we lose the Rizeki, which is not that bad. I think we could preemptively boomerang. On sale doesn't matter the turn you pop off. Technically it does. If they install a card from HQ or archives, it kind of does. Because they could put like a mana garm or a border control back on the table. The mana garm is more impactful depending on the order we run. But yeah, you're right. It's not the worst. Yeah, maybe that is fine. If they put an ice in behind it, which they can't really do. Yeah, maybe you're right. It's fine. I feel like at this point we just have to like VRcation last click. I think installing the boomerang might be correct, but I think they could overinstall that. We have to go. Like we have to just dig deeper than we are. And we have a lot of cards we can throw out. Like VRcationing and just throwing out stuff is probably correct. At this point, I don't think we want a piece in our time. We have enough money in hand. So far, so good. I've been trying to convince my friend to watch your videos because it's hard for me not to want to play all the crazy cards they haven't explored yet. I've mostly been playing Corp and I want to start getting into Runner. Any tips on the kind of deck to start with? What card pool are you playing? Oh, that's not good. What sort of card pool are you playing? Is it just the Nisei stuff? Like the what's it called? System Gateway? Not System Gateway, but Startup? Excuse me. I think maybe you said. Let me check. All the System Gateway ones. Okay, I'm assuming it's mostly. Yeah, they replaced the boomerang. I think it makes a lot of sense. Hey, Semicolon, thank you. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Good night. Hey, cheers. Appreciate it. Hopefully you have a good evening. This looks like a Spin Doctor. They did score this, so now they're on game point, right? And we know they have 1 seamless in hand. They return to seamless to hand as well. So if they have 2 seamless, which is unlikely, they could win off of a food. If they have a biotic, which is very unlikely, they could win off of that. When it comes to what decks to play, as a runner, you can basically look up any like good stuff Anarch deck within the startup format, and it's quite good. Big Max. Again, I don't know if you have all those cards. It's just a really fun deck. It's like a high skill cap deck, but even if you're not very good, it's like a really fun deck because you just have to see a lot of cards and figure out how to play with what you got. What ice do you swap on the first agenda score? Unknown with on sale, so we don't know what this one is. So we could lose right here. We really could. This could easily just be a Maryland or actually what's it called in advanced assembly lines. We only have 2 deep dive, which is very unlikely to have us win, so we just have to keep digging. Yikes, don't love it. We could install, and then last click deep dive. I feel like it might be more pertinent to last click VRcation. We need to get a paperclip in the bin and then just pray. This is 7 credits. We'll get 3 more next turn. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, there, that's perfect. At this point, we don't need to draw more. Hoshiko or Zaya are fun and relatively easy to figure out. Yeah, Hoshiko's like quite fun. Double seamless? Did we lose? Yeah, we lost. They had double seamless in hand, unless they draw it. Good game. Did you Rashida the double seamless? Or already have it? Master 3 zoom. That is like obviously the nightmare. Oh, wow. They had 2 cards in hand, both of them were seamless, and maybe we could have guessed that considering how aggressively they seamlessed out for tempo, the first off-world office. I think that kind of makes sense, but yeah, that's just the issue. And the boomerang helps a heck of a lot, but like, that's going to be an issue. We could have got... Did we? But you only returned 1. What's the killer? In this list, the killer is Bagalter, which I'm not a big fan of, spending 4 influence for a card you use 1 turn. Oh, I didn't pay enough attention. Whoops. Oh, man, if you're watching, you're probably like, Andre, what are you doing? You know we had it. And if we paid more attention, yeah, they triple advanced Illuminal and pulled back a seamless, so they had double. So we definitely had to do something there. I'm not sure what we could have done. Like, we maybe played our boomerang too soon. Maybe we want to keep that to camp the remote site, remote server. I don't know. Yeah, Sangren, totally. I missed it. I assumed that you always just seamless this to pull it back, but that was a very smart. Hey, cheers. Did you know that was a fast-paced deck based on an idea or the cards they played in the first couple turns? This PD can be one of the fastest decks. It has very, very good ice. The ice reses really well. It's mid-range ice that's very well positioned for specifically the early to mid game of the mid part of the game. The cards like Ansel hold on for the whole game. basically everything they do is what we call tempo positive. So there's very few things that they do that they actually put themselves back on board state. So the idea is that every single agenda they score gives them a huge benefit, barring the food, which they score when they win, and they return a card to hand. So like, yeah. Yeah, Rongi, we were kind of, what is on R&D? Is it the border control? Because we were going to pop off this turn. The issue is we could only, like, we only have 4 clicks. So it was a gatekeeper. That's fine. Actually, it's not even fine. I don't understand why this deck has unity. Like, if we have to break a gatekeeper once, it's what? 7 credits, and then we're destitute? How's it going, John? I'm a big fan of this Tau. I know what's gonna happen next weekend, man. Thanks for ordering all the cards, man. Huge favor to everyone in Montreal. Yeah, so Scrub, in terms of this deck, like, I very expected to do this, and also I expect Rongi to understand the matchup and play more aggressively than you could. But I feel like this deck is pretty well situated to go aggressively as well. What do you think is better? Ngolo? I think Ngolo is a fair bit worse. Ngolo is massively expensive. It is flexible though on your turn that you want to run, but it is massively expensive. I like maybe Revolver. I do like simul chips, so that you can just throw out your breakers and then install them clicklessly and creditlessly. I think that's quite good. Even like Paperclip, maybe playing Palongis to some extent makes sense, but there is obviously some hate to those viruses. But Euler, I think, is a really big deal for Unity, because when you come in, you break subroutines for free. So then you're dealing with a worst case scenario, like admittedly a 6 strength ice is pretty unlikely, but like you're dealing with that for 4 credits instead of 7. Euler is great. I love Euler Revolver Reg Shaper. Yeah, Sengren, I'm in on that too. Grim's Shaper's just not good. No. I think this sort of Shaper deck is actually quite good. And I feel like if you even build a Shaper deck that's less this, and I'm not gonna, like, I mean no offense to this, like one dimensional. I've been playing this sort of deck since a couple weeks. Like, that actually has like a control plan and then can close the game with deep dives. Like, you don't have to play all 3 of them. I think that's very frightening, because then it puts a clock on you, but at the same time they can deal with the remote. So you can't go aggressive with it. Yeah, it's way too expensive. Yeah, John, I totally agree. Without like Stim Hack, you cannot aggressively Ngolo. I don't know if Euler is great, but satisfying. It does feel really good when you start breaking stuff for like ridiculous numbers. Do you think this kind of Tau all in or the stealth thing better? I'm not even sure if I would say stealth is better. I feel like if you have to deal with like PD, and then if you have to deal with like Gagarin and like horizontal decks like controlling the message, I think stealth is doing you no favors. So I think you just want to go for good stuff, efficient Shaper, right? Like, I think you would do probably Euler Revolver with simulchip support. Maybe you play something cute like an Atman or a single Ngolo if you need to. And then you play probably Paperclip because it's great. I prefer Tau over Smoke in the shell. Yeah, I prefer Tau a fair bit. Like, Smoke doesn't really matter. Like, you use Smoke credit once a game. Fantastic, right? Because it's once per turn and you run once largely. And if you want to contest the remote server early with Smoke, like, you need things set up. You need stealth credits. You need stealth breakers. You need the right enough amount of stealth credits. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. What makes this ID so great with the deep dive suite? And there are any other substitutes that would perform as well? What makes this ID great? Largely, it's small. It's 40 cards. It's the smallest you can ask for in Shaper. And its ability gives you some ability to control the game. So the idea is that you could slow the game down for a while. So if you force an early res where they spend their money resing ice on the remote server, you could pull it off onto central server. And then once they score the second agenda, you put it back, and then you're good to go on R&D. Like, you have some pressure. You can also, in theory, like Yomi and rearrange ice. Maybe you Deuces Wild and find out there's a border control in R&D, and you just say, okay, I'm going to put that in the remote server. And now it's easier for me to combo off. I think that's a good thing that Tau has going. Tau is also just a bit awkward. Like, it makes the corp uncomfortable whether or not it's warranted. I feel like you can play any 40 strength ID and you'll be fine. I think you could maybe play Lat, but it seems worse than Tau. You could probably play, what's her name? Isla, because she's very comparable to having a 40 card identity, because you draw an opening hand of 9 cards, sort of. Tau swapping ice is huge for sort of things. If you play this deck a bit more aggressive, you can swap border controls, taxing ice away. Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, if people want to aggressively jam with an end the run on their remote server, you can be like, nah, I'm gonna put that on centrals and I'll run through your turnpike or whatever. Like, you have options, and Tau's good for that. I know people have also played deep dive in like Criminal by playing Swift, which says if you play a run event, get a click back, which is cute, but it's not as all in as this deck, because you can only generally play 1 deep dive if I'm not mistaken. That's cute. It's your ice. Put it where you need it. Exactly. Yeah. Some conditions apply. I think we're going to see a ton more 40 IDs to follow their stated make games faster design. Yeah, I wonder if that's the thing. Like, I don't know, John, if like the smaller decks inherently make faster games. They make more consistent games. Between you and me, I don't like the smaller decks because I struggle, and I feel with smaller decks, there's just less of a card pool you see. Because like the 46th worst card you don't see anyways, and now you're not going to even see the 41st. So I don't know. Do you think Simulclad is worth? It depends on your meta. Because Simulclad doesn't do a lot. Like if there's a lot of Gagarin fast events, yeah, maybe. It does tax out your simul chips so that you have to like start putting simul chips on the table, and you have to give it things to feed into your simul chips. Like there is some cost associated with it. You could also consider playing self-modifying code in this sort of list, which I don't think is a terrible idea, especially if you're playing Clot, because it allows you to pull the breakers you need while you're comboing if you haven't already drawn them. But there's a big chance you're already going to draw them, so maybe self-modifying code is awkward. So I don't know, but if there's a lot of people fast advancing and just like Wayland, or I don't know what else is fast advancing, yeah, you could do it. It doesn't really help against PD because Cloud only stops an agenda from being scored on the turn it's installed, and if there's seamless launching, that's not going to happen. Especially, I hope we don't make 40s the new norm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love 40, I'll be honest, just because of that reason. John, the 40 card ideas are specifically to make Gateway work with a card pool size. I don't think there's an actual design intention. Oh, cool to know. Okay. Smaller decks make for more consistent decks, which helps the learning curve. I hear you, but I'm the kind of guy who wants to play 60 card max, so maybe we're barking up the wrong tree. But yeah, it makes a lot of sense that System Gateway's a 40 card thing, just so that they can have a smaller, affordable product that they can ship. How come Cordyceps doesn't see much use as Foul Tau? Nat, how's it going? Cordyceps is like really clumsy. Thanks for the helpful explanation. Anytime. Cordyceps is massively expensive on 3 credits. When you make a successful run on a central server, you may remove, like that's also conditional on top of it. There's just a lot of things that this card's asking for. It takes up MU, it's expensive, you have to make a successful run. There's a chance it's not useful, as opposed to Tau, who just has it built in, and it's going to trigger specifically in the most awkward time. Because a lot of times corps are scoring on their last click, so they have no more clicks to like rearrange the board. It's kind of like Leela back in the day. So that ability is just going to be relevant, less so than Cordyceps. That being said, Cordyceps saw no play, and it's probably still an okay card. For what it's worth, I think this card was massively underplayed. It was restricted for a long time. But back in the day, especially when people played like low strength end run code gates, and Versificator was an honest nightmare. An immensely powerful card that very few people had the mispleasure of playing against, because not a lot of people played it. It's rearranging ice is potentially quite strong. But Versificator is it's good. It's good. I still don't know why I would play this, but yeah. I'd argue consistency actually hurts the learning curve to decrease in unique circumstances, unless you mean learning a deck and not learning Netrunner in general. I think so, more so that. There's fewer cards, so you can like more quickly master what you have. But yeah, I think you could argue either way. Makes sense. And hey. Easier to learn the ins and outs of one particular deck, thus fewer choices and therefore faster games. Yeah, there's less reading, right? Your opponent's like, what's that do? And you'd be like, check out my Az deck with all my triggers. And they're like, please, make sure you tell me what you're doing. How often do y'all explain what you're doing to your opponent? I hope it's every time. I know it's a frustration for newer players where people just do their deck. You gotta explain everything. And we're gonna be playing Az, which is gonna have a fair few triggers. I don't think we're gonna go that trigger heavy. It's not gonna go that trigger heavy, but there's some Az decks that get absolutely ridiculous. I want to put up the, what's it called? Greed Bop? Greed Bop was so cool. I'm pretty sure it's called Greed Bop, right? Yeah, Sebastian K, let's go. I love playing this deck. This deck we saw Worlds. We saw it on the World stream. It's an Az deck that is massively greedy. Greedy to a fault. And we luckily did get to see it in circumstances where it hit that greed curve. This deck, I've played it. I actually really quite like it. But it struggles so heavily to get spun up. It's a very slow, clunky deck until you get spun up. And at that point, it's massively powerful in terms of the economy it can generate and regenerate and what it can pull off. If you haven't seen these sort of engines, we're looking at Masterwork, which is a very strong console that sees very little play outside of directly as Geist at home. And it lets you get free card draw when you do the thing that you're doing anyways. It also lets you clicklessly install things for a credit extra. But Az, mind you, lets you install your first hardware for a credit fewer, so that kind of balances off. And on top of this, a deck with 28 hardware, that's a ridiculous number, and then 9 more programs, we can use Prognostic Q Loop consistently. And if we're using this on our turn, that hits all our triggers, but also if we use this on the corpse turn to install hardware at a reduction, not only do we draw from Masterwork, but we get our Az reduction, because it's the first time a turn, and the corpse turn is technically a turn. Now you see some weird things with this deck. What is this? One event? Mad Dash makes a lot of sense when this deck is running 6 spy cameras, so we know when we want to run R&D. But the problem is that this deck has no upfront economy. Criminal decks can easily play upfront economy if you're playing, obviously, sure gamble. That means on turn 1, you can play this and have a modicum of credits to start installing things and make the corp a bit scared of you. And on top of that, bravado, one of the best on-tempo ways to pressure the corp and get economy at the same time. But this deck ran none of it. So there's like many turns where you're on 1 to 2 credits and you're just kind of feeding a tech trader, or more accurately feeding a tech writer, until it has like 4 or 5 credits. And you're like, I guess I'll pop that. Hopefully that's enough to get into the mid game. And once you hit the mid game, you're good to go. Now this is the opposite end of the spectrum. And this one is, it's a more like a regular criminal. And we talked to Anarcho a bit, who said basically like, I just wanted to play regular criminal. I didn't like any of the IDs, so I tried Az. So we have very little Az, like, I think, value out of this deck. We have 3 Masterwork, but the only hardware we have in our deck are boomerangs, which admittedly you install over and over again. But the fact that we can clicklessly install a boomerang is pretty cool, and we can draw a card. That's nice. Admittedly, I'd want to put a bit more hardware in here. I remember back in the day of the Decipher Lord of the Rings TCG, playing shadow cards upside down for the benefit of your opponent was a sign you were playing a sportsman-like veteran player. Yo, John, that's the question of whether you put your ice facing you or your opponent. I do it facing me, and I probably shouldn't, but I think most people do. Ken, how's it going? You mean shaping ice is important? Ice shaping? I always talk through card game plays. You should. You really should. I'm not even new, and I still like explanations to see how players are approaching their turns. For sure. But a lot of it's just like mechanical stuff. Like if you don't know the game and someone's playing this deck, they're like, firstly, I'm going to make a run. That lets me trigger my prognostic Q loop. I can see the top 2 cards. I will spend a credit off the prognostic Q loop to install a card. It is a hardware, which I install for 1 credit cheaper, which draws from a Masterwork. I will then use my Masterwork trigger and my bad publicity to install, like some of this can get really, really intricate and very easy to mess up. I feel like this is actually a deck that in some ways easier to play in person, because I find in person it's a lot more easy for me to memorize what's on top of my deck and remember when I draw, because you physically have to do it. It's very easy for you to install a hardware or shuffle with Boomerang and not realize it, and then you totally mess up everything. I love this Yuki voice. I feel like it gets into the what's his name, the day 9, make a larger and larger man. Explaining what you're doing also keeps the conversation flowing. It's more fun. Yeah, totally. Nero, how's it going? Welcome. When you sit down in a Netrunner game, your goal should be to make the game fun for everyone, not just you. Oh, John, like the competitive play cares about fun. So explaining stuff will eventually make you happier. Just don't say what ice you're installing, right? So this deck is also notable because it's running a full suite of tech traders, which might be my favorite card in the whole game of Netrunner, but it has suspiciously few trash cans in it. This is why I play Diaper. All right. I know you're going to be playing a deep dive shaper. If you play anything else, I'll be upset, but you do you. We're going to start with this deck for sure. And then we're going to try and tune it, because I feel like we could maybe like make it less regular criminal and make it more interesting criminal that kind of falls into the suites of having this Boomerang Masterwork arm cannon and having Az's ability. Az's ability, mind you, not only reduces the cost of hardware, but it also reduces the cost of jobs, which is useless, and connections, which is not useless. It's actually kind of cool. So trash cans in this deck are minimal. We have Caldera, which is a meta call. I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out because I'm just assuming that JNet won't be mean to us. We have Citadel Sanctuary, which technically has a trash can on it, but you're hoping never to use that. You have Miss Bones as a connection. A great card. I feel like I would not go out of the house without 2 in my criminal deck to wait for it to get Malia'd. It won't be a problem. Yeah, Pad Tap. That's not frustrating. Political Operative has a trash can on it, a very powerful card. We could also play Light the Fire for 2 influence if we want to get it in there. We have Tech Trader, which is a connection, and we don't have the back because we're not trying to get, there's not a lot of cards that can shuffle back into our deck anyways. The back lets you shuffle back in cards that have trash cans on them. 3 Class Act might seem weird because it's a unique card, but installing this for 3 credits, and then we draw 4.5 and have filter draws. Actually not too bad. I think there are arguments that you might want to go down to 2, but Class Act is a very good card. And you also can use it as like a tech card against damage decks. If you're worried that someone's going to punitive you, you just last click install a Class Act, and then you end your turn on like 8 cards or whatever. So it's very hard for them to kill you. It's actually a very, very interesting line of play. We have 2 Turning Wheel as our only multi-axis, and sometimes this frustrates me. I don't love playing decks where we don't have a strong way to end the game. I love having control over a Stargate or a Conduit, that if things are getting out of control on the board, we can try and close it. Turning Wheel is obviously very good, but this kind of encourages us more to play a bit control so that we are contesting the remote server and then eventually building up a Turning Wheel to close the game. I kind of like just to be able to close the game. Our breaker suite is interesting. We have a single Amakua, which is quite good, but there's a lot of AI hate recently. IP block shows up very, very commonly, and I find myself trashing my turtles a heck of a lot. We have a Begalter, which honestly, this deck could consider playing Revolver and maybe actually playing multiple Revolvers because you do get a fair bit of value off of your trash cans and your tech traders. At that point, maybe you can play a couple of them and then like simul-chip them, but then you have to play simul-chips and your influence gets all weird. But I kind of want to play Revolver. I just don't know if this is the way to do it. Paperclip's great. And the fact that Unity ceased play is really puzzling to me, but hey, you needed the coder. Finally, we have Tiruzeki. That's fantastic. And nothing too flashy here. We have mad dashes, but like no real way to capitalize on them besides the turning wheel, which is probably fine. Actually, that's not true. We have falsified. So sometimes we can see what we need to run if we can make it in there. Single inside job is good, and I love cards like this for a deck that potentially takes a while to set up. This is a card that I used to play one or two of back in the Geist decks that were actually closer in design or structure to these sort of decks, which took you a while to spin up. So having something like a Boomerang or like an inside job, and mind you, Boomerang a lot of times makes inside job look not as strong, but it's still very, very powerful, especially in combination. Does give you some early game pressure. We have 3 diversions, Diesel, Bravado. We don't have DJ Fenris, and it's really hard not to consider playing DJ Fenris in the modern meta. Just so, oh, I guess you can't rebirth into Steve. Never mind. Maybe it's not that good. Excuse me. Kat, how's it going? Good luck with the games. Hey, thank you. Hey, cheers. It's been a while. Govrick, how's it going? In the miniatures wargaming communities I'm in, we call kind of explaining playing by intent. I move this piece so that they are at the distance from your piece, putting their guns at max range. That's a really honest way to play, and I support that heavily. How do you get away with one of each breaker? In this deck, I think it's a bit less necessary. It's very important to understand how much card draw this deck can abstractly have. I'm not sure how often Masterwork is going to trigger, but it is a card draw card. But on top of that, we have 3 Boomerang, inside job, and some flexibility, right? Like Paperclip, we just have to get into the bin. So we have an inside job, 3 Boomerang, and an Amakua, so we can get there. On top of that, we have a single mutual favor. We do have to get a bit lucky that we draw the right things, but it's not too unlikely. You could always play more mutual favor spice as you'd like, based off of your like experiences. We also have 3 Diesel. Like we have a fair bit of card draw, so I'm not too stressed about it. These sort of decks, admittedly, without recursion, are weak to like program destruction. But if that happens, like you can just try and rely on an Amakua with falsifieds or like an inside jobs Boomerangs. Like you have some teeth. It's not like you totally lose. Things I would want to do. Well, we'll try this first. I want to play more hardware for sure. I'm not sure if I want to play Prognostic Q-Loop because I don't know if we need a lot of triggers for Prognostic Q-Loop to be worth it. I want to play a bit more hardware. I either want to play more trash cans or not play Tech Trader, and I kind of want to play Tech Trader. I want to consider what other trash cans we can play. This is absolutely wild. How bad is Tracker? Gonna read Tracker, gonna regret Tracker. Make a run for this takes up 2 MU, costs nothing though. When your turn begins, choose a server, click in 2 credits, make a run on the chosen server, prevent the first subroutine that would resolve this run from resolving. If you play this and Boomerang, potentially you can like deal with 2 ice. This is a terrible idea, don't do it. But if you play this in combination with like, I guess Grappling Cook is not legal anymore, is it? No, never mind. But we could like, I don't know, we could try some weird stuff, but I feel like this is just a fine shell. I feel like it's not refined though. I just kind of like, I like this play style, but we need to make this deck way less greedy. And so you're going to end up taking up a lot of the like weird flavorful stuff. Like we're going to end up cutting something for sure gambles. We're probably going to end up cutting the reverb because I just don't consistently draw it and it frustrates me. We don't have a self-modifying code. The Claude is also dependent on the meta. With 3 simul-chips, it's obviously quite playable. And back in this day, there was a lot of fast events decks that you had to deal with, or at least some fast events decks you had to deal with. Let's go. That one Az deck from BCom. What does everyone think is good right now? Like if you had to go play at an event, unlike me. Like is everyone just going to play PD and Big Max and then like controlling the message? Clot seems pretty good currently. Ixaron, why do you think? What decks are you clotting out? Like is controlling the message fast advancing out? I haven't seen enough of Ladissa Bursk to be like really worried about it. I think I've seen like Wayland fast advance. I haven't seen HB fast advance. Greedy as in asks for a lot of cards. It's greedy because it takes a while to set up, but once it's set up, it's good. So all we want to do is basically make sure, put our power a bit earlier so that we actually are a force and we have more flexibility and we put more threat on the corporation sooner. Because like a lot of a lot of people look at decks or look at card games and there's like, there's generally a triangle of things like value oriented decks that generate immense amount of value over a long enough period of time, or tempo decks that at some point will run out of gas, but are very good, like an aggro deck, like are very good at getting there. And right now, this Greed Bop deck is like 300% of value over time deck, which is unhealthy. And in a lot of metas, like a PD that's only like 10 turns long, that sort of deck won't succeed. So we just want to shift a bit more of our power onto on-tempo plays, as opposed to, I'm going to play this Tech Trader, which is going to be good in 7 turns. Or Tech Rider, I think, more accurately. Audacity seems pretty popular in Wayland. It always is. Been seeing much more seamless than Biotic, though. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Biotic is not very popular, besides, like, I am worried, and I know Diogen published a list of just, like, Biotic from hand Wayland, and, like, that's going to be a struggle for a lot of people. Clock and Annoy CTM, mostly good versus Gag. Yeah, mostly against Gag. I don't know if there's a lot of CTM that's, like, sanding out. A lot of them are just, like, getting table presence and then just scoring out behind. Some ice? I know people do play sand. We'll see. Are there any APOC decks right now? Yeah, totally. I think you can still play Shaper APOC over Shaper, what's it called? Over Shaper Deep Dive to some extent. You can also definitely play APOC Anarch. None of that's really changed. Like, just find any list at Worlds. Yeah, APOC Max, exactly. Like, it's still quite fine. Built to Last can go quite fast, actually. This can be a very aggressive deck in terms of, like, just fast advancing Bioticing out. Hey, Floofy. Thanks, you too. Oh, so this is where things get awkward. Like our opening hand, we have none of our engine cards besides the Tech Trader. But again, I'm not quite sure of this deck, this card. We have a Diversion, which is good. If we had Diversion to Boomerang, we'd be kind of singing. Missed Bones is not, maybe it is valuable in this matchup, but I'd rather mulligan into like Diesels and Bravados, and just a sure gamble would be good. Yeah, that's like close enough. If we get down an early pull up, it helps because we can actually threaten Reconstruction Contract, so they can't actually fast advance out. And if they're red level clearing, it's a fast advance deck, and specifically, it is a Reconstruction Contract deck. So getting a pull up on the table is going to be very important. Reconstruction Contract is an asset that lets them move advancement counters that they put on it with Dedication Ceremony to agendas, which is quite powerful. You can actually fast advance out like 5/3s and stuff. Hey, no worries. That tells us a lot about their deck. If they're playing red level clearance, they're more likely also not to be on a kill package and be on a very like single-minded what's it called? Plan of fast events. Hopefully they ice up HQ. Like if they don't ice up HQ, hopefully for them, I mean, like you're asking to get diverted, which would be a disaster. So they did hedge fund into red level clearance, draw 2, get a click back. Yeah, you're gonna do that. We can force them to res. A lot of times like the ice can just be like, Mouseless is the most annoying. I still think we just sure gamble, we just like smash into it. If we lose any of these cards, we're not too upset. I will say Coco means Atlas or Office, I think. I think Office is less likely. Yeah, we'll take that down. So we'll draw up and we'll definitely play this. So now this threatens also the Spin Doctor to some extent, but we've trashed it. Aw. But yeah, I think they'd be on Atlases, Azefs probably because it's the hot new thing, Above the Law, and then a 4/2 of choice, just about. And then Hostile Takeovers, of course. But this is a really big deal in the matchup. Red level clearance again. We just need to make sure we keep 4 credits because that is the trash cost on Reconstruction Contract. We actually have to pay that straight up. And it's worth knowing if you have tech traders that give you the credits back, you have to be able to afford the trash cost first, I'm pretty sure. All right, they're going for a mode. So we really want to draw into a Boomerang or an Inside Job. That's 4 cards in the deck. Amaku is not bad too here. Amaku will beat basically Ice Wall, Vanilla. Most of the other ice. Aked is like what, 2 strength? So like we could Aked, run HQ, run server 1. That just beats Ice Wall. I just want to pressure like them to res a bunch of things. We actually could consider Bravadoing here. I'm okay into that. Turtle beats Border Control. Yeah, Border Control, actually, that's a really big deal. If we get 1 advancement here on the Amaku, we deal with Border Control. I totally forgot about that. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's annoying. That makes kind of sense because they didn't res on HQ, but I'm very surprised the Fast Advance deck wants to pay 6 credits on an ice. I guess to some extent, Built to Last wants to play advanceables. But we have a tag here, which is really annoying. Atlas is a good steal. So the question is, do we want to check the remote server or do we want to keep the political operative? With 1 credit, it seems like they can't score out, but if it's a 3-2, they can do advance, 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 and they actually gain enough monies to score out. So I'm going to say if they want to trash the political operative, they can. We'll run server 1, because at 1 credit, there's only like 1 or 2 ice in the whole game that they consider rezzing here. Vanilla or ice wall. Yeah, that paid out. That's definitely right. That's not a good start for them. And I don't know if they trash this, it's really quite bad. Now, technically, we're threatening with political operative. We'll wait for them to discard. But after they discard, they have to pop their spin doctor right away. Otherwise, we can pull up and then trash their spin doctor, and they can't shuffle away. The Colossus now on HQ, if we go tag me too, like we haven't seen any proof that they're a meat damage deck. We could consider floating the tags. We also could just put down the Citadel Sanctuary and clear the tags clicklessly. So actually running through this could be considered free. They keep drawing. So we'll see if they discard and pop immediately. Want to pop the dock? It's a really weird bluff. Like, I don't know whether we want to pull up to hit the dock. Yeah. Because even just telling them about them pressures them to consider popping it before we spin doctor, pull up. All you. Like, it gives you a fair bit of power. It's the same thing of playing like a light the fire. They have to consider popping it preemptively. All right. This is useless. We said we'd cut this from the deck. I feel like it's pretty man dependent. Trashing out the draw, maybe also line. Yeah, maybe, but I'm not too concerned. Yeah, you're right. We could maybe make the hand a bit awkward. But I feel like we're far enough ahead that we don't have to take those like really mean routes. Like we're doing well. They're on 2 credits. And maybe they're on too big to fail. I don't know. We could consider hitting centrals. I don't love it. Like the next part of our turn, I think we can draw 1 more. Inside job is really good. We can hit R&D here and then last click install Citadel. And then we can start going through the Colossus for free. Audacity, good to know. And then we'll install the Citadel. With Audacity, like things are going to get fast, that's for sure. Boost strength, no thank you. So we clear the tags clicklessly with this trace. So now the Colossus does nothing. So if we draw a diversion at the right time, it's going to be really awkward for them. We have 3 diesels and 3 class acts, so we're gonna go actually pretty fast. A hostile here would be good for them. Yeah, there you go. We have bad pub. That does help us not with the trace on this because it's not during a run. Boomerang is also quite good. So the chance they have an agenda in hand, I think they shuffle 2 away. I don't know if they have another agenda in hand here. So I'm not that sure that we need to run HQ. A turning wheel is really good. I'm really not sure that this is a match where we're going slow enough to play this. So either here we can sure gamble or we can draw and discard Caldera and the Tech Trader. I'm okay with that, actually. This actually might be worth it, but I'm not sure. If they Audacity out here, could be a nightmare. We know they have an Audacity in hand. We have to be really aggressive. I think we just want to get our turning wheel down and start forcing runs. Especially a diversion would be quite good. Oh, another hostile? Wow. Okay. Too bad publicity. 16 credits. There's nothing they can't res. A Tithonium would be the nightmare. At least they would. I guess they wouldn't sacrifice an agenda, would they? Okay. Well, I wonder at this point whether they consider tracing into the Az trace. I think if we do that and then they boost the trace and trash the turning wheel, I think we're actually pretty happy about it. I just don't know if they have another agenda in hand. I'd be pretty surprised. I just feel at 16 credits, like this pressure, like they're going to res a mouseless here and it'll be worse for us than them. I'm not sure I'm excited about running here, but we have to just get turning wheel triggers. Maybe running HQ and knowing that we'll get a turning wheel trigger is good enough. No res. What the heck is that? Oh, it's an Azef. That's good. Are they on a kill package? Maybe we'll get our credits up so we don't like get economic into hard hitting. But generally, if they're playing this for like 6 influence, I don't think they usually have hard hitting. That was definitely a new for there. And I don't know what it is that they didn't res. Like, are they playing Archer straight up? Or is it another Colossus? I think it might be another Colossus. And at this point, if they res, like, we're fine. We're getting turning wheel counters. We don't care. And here's the power of like Boomerang inside job, which I think we will definitely do. This is awkward because it forces 2 reses. Because if they don't res this, we save our Boomerang to some extent. And now we're seeing like the spicy parts of this deck we're getting no value from. Oh, yeah, we inside job that. So if they eat it, actually that's bad. That's actually really awkward for us because they could stuff the run. It was a border control though on the remote. So our boomerang is stranded. We can still force a res here. It's not cat, 2 strength, that's fine. They get an advancement, but it's on any card. That's actually really annoying. If they get the last atlas, they get a counter. And then we're actually kind of scared. So we're just going to keep the pressure on. That's a Horton, that's fine. They res that for 3 credits. We can always bounce off of this to get turning wheel tokens if we really want to. Let's see what they score out here. This can be any card. It's not a card that can be advanced in theory. So this could be Rashida, but I think it's more likely that they're jamming an agenda here. Diversion would be sick, especially if they score out here and go low. Not that we can keep them off the Audacity, which is only 1 credit to score out. Yeah, man, this is the sort of matchup where like you have your cute greed deck. Like if we played the other deck, the saving grace we have is Clot, but like it would take us a while to spin up, but we could not be this aggressive. Like it would be hard for us to make them spend 13 credits. I think we make them spend 17 credits on ice, right? Like you have to run. I wonder if this oh whoa, we gotta watch out that we don't die to Azef, but we had Citadel. No, we can lose those cards, that's fine. A diversion would be so sick here. Pad tap. Hey, Elwin, how's it going? This is not that important. This is really important. It triggers our ability to. So we install it for 3, draw 4, and we have a diversion for next turn. We're not able to pressure the Aket yet. We have a single paperclip. We have a mutual favor. We have 2 more boomerangs. So we have a fair few, and we can draw a Diesel to C4. How are you doing, Elwin? New remote? We have 4 credits. We can threaten the ball up if they go for something wild. I think they maybe missed server 1. Trigger light. Oh, that's not what they want to play. We can lose. Like we can still lose. They have a trigger light in hand. This needs 2 advancements on a card, so they're probably going to double advance something. They have a trigger light. They have an Audacity, so they could install trigger light Audacity 4 counters. Doing okay tonight. What's the Dex theme? We're trying to play Masterwork Az, but I haven't seen it so far. It's our first game though, so not too worried. So here they can trickle light Audacity. So they do trickle light Audacity advance, and then we lose. Thinking if that's a 5-3, we lose, right? Because they do already installed it, so they do trickle light for 2 advancements, Audacity for 2 advancements, advance. So actually no. Oh, because they mandatory draw, they'll be on enough cards. That is also trickle light costs like what, 1 credit? Yeah, so that's only a 2 credit play. So even if we diversion them, so basically we have to find boomerang, paperclip, or bust. Looks like it might be bust. Oh god. I think we lose. No, we can hit R&D here. Remember when you asked about what we can't find our breakers? This looks bad. So if we diversion them, we don't see enough. What could we possibly do here? We have no multi-access. The best we could do, we can't even get through the Whoredom. We know 2 of the cards on hand are Audacity, Trickle Light, so running HQ is not that like impactful. Our diversion again takes them down to 2 credits, which is not enough. I think you have it. Yeah, we just can't stop this. We just have to hope that it's like we have another turn and they're scoring out the last Atlas instead of a 5-3. Yeah, exactly that. So it could not be a GFI, yeah. There's a chance it's not a GFI and they have an Atlas with a token which threatens potentially a hat style takeover. I didn't realize it was hat style takeover. Nothing. Yeah, nothing here. Okay, that's awkward. We're going to need some money. We want to make sure we have at least 4 if it is a reconstruction. So it's either we falsified or we sure gamble. If we get the information from this, it doesn't change much. So I think we're just going to sure gamble. And discard a lot of cards. Catching their combo pieces is usually strong versus that favorite Clot. What does well against this fast advance, fast runner decks, or specific tech? Specific tech. Clot is really important. Political operative is also very good against some fast advance, but not all fast advance. But having Clot is very important. threatening them and having like really destructive abilities, things like Stargate, which let you control the top of the deck. That's really important, because you can, see, you can make sure that they don't draw their things. Having a lot of pressure, being able to say like, oh, you can fast advance a remote server, but my conduit has 5 or 6 tokens on it. Very important. Having ways to trash operations, also very important. Things like Edward Kim, to some extent. Things like Imp, better extent. Things like Maw, stuff like that will trash Audacities and Trickle Lights and stuff from hand. That's really important. Okay, they installed an ice. Yeah, they didn't score out. Hey, Solomir, how's it going? Before the olden days of Audacity tricks, you could try to pressure the core beacon below 7 credits. Yeah, with Biotic 7 was the magic number. It's technically 5 with this built to last they Biotic out, but like you cannot pressure their economy. It does not work, because they Audacity out for credit. Okay. So this doesn't look like a 5-3. I think I don't know what to do. Like we could just do diversion. We float a tag. I don't know how good that is. Because we'd clear 1 tag. They could trash the turning wheel, which would be like awkward. The current brand of FA decks run really close to the ground. Yeah, exactly. And even in Wayland, like the things too big to fail, like they recover very quickly. Thinking. So we have 15 cards. In 15 cards, we have a mutual favor, a paperclip, and 2 copies of Boomerang. So when we draw, we see 2 cards, bottom 1, and it's only a 14 card deck, right? Because we know our bottom card is not either of those. Yo, Parallel, how's it going? Do you have a kid? General econ pressure still okay. Yeah, it only buys you so long. Draw, doof, clear tag. The doof doesn't do anything, right? Because we know they have Trickle Light and Audacity. So it just doesn't do much. I do! Yo, congrats! How'd it go? Alec and his partner just had a kid like probably a week ago at this point. Congrats. Yeah, congrats. That's huge. So I think we'll draw, like, I think we still want to contest this, but I don't know what they're going to score out. My daughter was born on Sunday morning. Damn. Yo, that's awesome. Do you have a name yet? Okay. They didn't score out, which is really suspect. Like, I don't know why they wouldn't have scored out. We know they have Audacity. We know they have Trickle Light. So I don't know if we have to run for this. Her name is Evelyn. That's a beautiful name. My parents told me this is why it's a beautiful name, but you have a name in theory that you might have based off your parents not knowing what gender you were. I was Ava until I was a boy. So just this past Sunday, wasn't that a bit late? I think that was like a week late. Yeah, 2 weeks late. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Big congrats. What is this? Okay. Hold on. So we falsified. We can find out if it's an agenda or not. Then we have 1 draw that we can install run. So unlikely. I'm just going to check what this is. I don't think it's an agenda. It's a virus suite. Sick. That makes so much more sense. We probably could have just assumed that. So at this point, the diversion's actually not terrible. Okay. Remember all their cool Az cards we're playing? So if we hit this, we slow them down a bit. It pulls them off Biotic if they're on Biotic, but I'm pretty sure they're not on Biotic considering the red level clearances. So I think the axes on HQ might, in fact, be better than the diversion. Because putting them to 3 credits changes nothing. So I'm just going to go for the axes. Thanks, yo. Yeah, of course. That's awesome. So this gives a tag and trashes a program. Doesn't matter. We can clear the tag clicklessly. It's on Audacity. Nothing learned there. So we do actually have to work on running R&D at some point. We can consider trashing this class act to install this class act for 3 credits. We'd be on 6. With a link would be on 7. So they'd have to spend all their money to score out. I think if they do that and trash the turning wheel, we're fine with it. And that will likely get us into, I don't think we have any multi-axes at this point, but that will likely get us into a Boomerang for R&D. Like I don't know how to get access to R&D. Like we have to install in a Unity. That feels terrible. Yikes. It also doesn't let us trash our paperclip. I think we'll just draw 1 and throw out our paperclip. Maybe that's wrong. RLC equals Rococo Deddy, right? Yeah, definitely. But we have the Polyop, so we're not too worried about that part, as long as we keep the 4 credits. 1 out of 3 new cards in HQ, that's bad odds. I did not realize that there's only 3 cards in HQ. Yeah, because there was only 1 out of 3, because we knew the what's that trick, and we knew the other one. So we probably should have just diversioned, because yeah, that was a really bad odds. Class X gets us to another Boomer. Yeah, almost definitely. I just was kind of worried about dipping to low credits. I don't think they would have traced us out. We have no evidence that they're a high-profile target boom deck. I'm pretty sure they're not. Now at least next turn we could do boomer, or sorry, diversion, and like flow tag. But Galter's on the bottom of the deck, I think. Triple advance, what does this do now? 2 tags? And installed resource. I feel like they should have done that a while ago, but that's okay. We'll draw boomerang. I'm just kidding. We can falsifies for an upgrade, which is fine. They still haven't scored out. If we boomerang into diversion, it'll be bad because then they're 1 credit, which stops them from scoring out. So we'll draw once. I feel like we're not going to play these. Well, we can just guess upgrade here. I don't think we're going to have to play a remote game. And then we can trash this and install this for 3. All right, got it. Mad Dash is not relevant. Should have diversion? Diversion does nothing for us. Make up your mind. Well, it doesn't do anything for us, but it was better than accessing 1 of 3. Because we'd get the turning wheel counter. That's what we cared about more. And that makes it more awkward for them, right? Like it's harder for them to advance stuff and trick out. Forcing them to invest into the trace and then spending more on trashing Citadel is really going to hurt them. Yeah, there's no way they would have done it. Like if they do that and they're on 0 credits, like I don't know what they're doing. What is this? Oh, we just lose. Wait. Why did we not think we could just lose at any moment? Oh no, this is fine. It's only 6 points. We don't care. Unless... No, they can't do anything with this, can they? We just want turning wheel. Could run R&D to bait res. Yeah. We could. But yeah, we don't care about this. We only care about a 5-3. The issue is like we have to win now. I'm just hoping they spend a lot of money on the Audacity. Advance. Score. So no cards in hand. A bunch of cards in archive. Okay. We have to get through this somehow. We don't know what this is. It can't be Colossus. It could be Akhet, but we can deal with Akhet. It costs us 5 credits largely. Oh man, the Breaker Suite is rough. I kind of want to check archives, but it'd be pretty wild if they discard something. Huh. What do we do here? Let's see. Big Namba with the new construction Audacity trick. Yeah, it's awkward. It's not a line they're excited to do. This might be a version that, I don't know, they must have foods in here, right? But now, like, if they have another hostile, some decks only run 2 hostiles. We know this is not a spin doctor, so archives cards are not safe. But the problem is, like, we're really struggling to deal with just Hoard'em and an unknown ice. Like, do we just Unity, Boomerang, Bravado? Yeah, probably. But that's not enough money. We go into the 5 credits. Do we break this for 5 credits? Give or take? Yikes. Oh, this is cheaper, actually. For 3 credits. No, this is wrong. This is wrong. We just diversion this. Hold on. This is not wrong. I think we just boomerang diversion. Yeah, I think we boomerang diversion. There's no reason to install the Unity. They could consider resing this, but like we're fine if they do that. We have another boomerang in hand. New construction goes well with Deddy, Rococo. Yeah, totally. You actually can combo out with that. You can score it out. You install it, advance it, install the other thing, and you're good to go. Yeah, they're resing. That's fine. That just ducks less credits for us, which is not a big deal. Oh, we have bad publicity. Oh, huge. Forgot about that. So this means that they can't score a hostile off the top. Not that they could. Oh, they could actually. Do not love what happened there. We shuffled our deck too, actually, which we have to messes up the class act a fair bit. Okay, well, we have a bit of a lock. Yeah, too bad pub. Totally forgot. The new construction was a misplay, then archives might be a good hit. I don't think archives is the worst hit. We kind of have a bit of control over Spin Doctor with Polop. But yeah, it might be worth checking. They're advancing, which is technically better than clicking for credits. I don't know if we just like boomerang diversion again. That feels kind of bad. Do we just boomerang diversion again? Draw hostile Audacity scores from 0? Yeah, but that'd be pretty wild if they did both of those. They have the top deck. 2 cards in a row. And no, they actually can't, because they can't play Audacity without cards in hand. At this point, 3 credits, can they res this ice? It would have to be exactly an Aket. So I feel like we're better off doing Boomerang on here and then just bravadoing it and seeing 2 cards and locking the top. This gives us 5 with bad publicity. That seems fine. Because even if we like just bounce off the Aket, whatever. Always be checking. If they had random unplayable cards, it would work, but not empty. Yeah, the thing is they need to draw more. That seems like the wrong boomer target. Oh yeah, I didn't have to boomerang that at all. That is the wrong boomerang target by a mile. That is a misplay. I did not mean to put a boomerang on that. Yikes. Whatever. It only cost us a credit. But yeah, we had no reason to boomerang that. Or, oh, and we also meant to turning wheel it. What's happening? Absolute nightmare. Okay. Well, they have 3 credits. If this is the hostile, it's a problem. We can go back and see 2 more cards underneath it. Let's say that we did that. And then last click we can yeah, maybe that's tactical. And then last click we can install the class act. Tactical. It's just a shame because we're not using red pub when we're boomeranging, but whatever. At this point, the difference between 3 and 5 credits is not that important. Like it's 3 credits for us or 2 credits for us. Giving them the credit, does that change any math? I don't think it does. I think we can give them the credit. Oh, it changes them resing this, which actually we're okay that they don't do that. Okay, let's just say that's okay. Okay, hold on. Access card, yeah. Okay. Border control. There, we got it. Intended tech. Good game. I totally forgot to turning wheel the first run. Intended tech. Go back. Yeah, man. Yeah, bad pub is a huge difference there. 2 bad publicity goes a long way, especially when you have a card like Turning Wheel that wants you either to bounce for free or to go cheaply. But yeah, that was definitely very clumsy. We wanted to consider border controlling, boomeranging the outermost ice, or not even at all. With 3 credits, again, the only thing they could res with the Aket, which we really didn't care about. Like that would be totally fine if they did res the Aket. And we want to keep the border control for the Colossus, which is hard to deal with, and we could diversion once they got up to credits. It doesn't seem like they were on Too Big to Fail. Yeah, that was definitely a bit messy. But like that's the issue and this is obviously a fast matchup. I think it went a bit slower than the Corp would have liked. But like all the cute stuff that we had for Az, imagine we were Steve Cambridge or even Zaya, right? I doubt they're on Ice Wall. I just feel like Aket is so much better than Ice Wall. But yeah, we had a paperclip in the bin. So if they res either of them, I think we could have considered going through, or at least like hitting it and bouncing off the Ice Wall and getting Turning Wheel tokens, which would be fine with that. Trashing Audacity with Audacity is always sad. Yeah, you kind of have to. I don't think I had anyways. Trash 2 Audacities. Oof. Hey, GG. The question is, we'll ask from Floofy, whether Floofy had another, because a lot of the decks don't run 3 hat styles. They only run 2 because they want to play 19 points, right? Or 18 points, excuse me. Yeah, we didn't check archives, but I really doubt they would have scored out if they had the thing. It's only 5 games right now? Shit. That's not good. You know what we haven't done in a really long time? Is saying, hey, welcome back to the Metro Grid. If you're just tuning in, my name is Andre. Wait, this button doesn't work? No, this should work. It doesn't work. Hold on. We haven't reslated. We used to reslate all the time and be like, welcome back to the Metro Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you're new around here, welcome. I know there's a lot of players getting into Netrunner. Maybe you saw Nisei for the first time at PAX East today, and then you Googled Netrunner in YouTube, and you're like, oh, this is disappointing. Metro Grid. If you're here, welcome. If you're new to the community, if you're new to the game, definitely, if you're on either YouTube or Twitch, I highly recommend like just making an account. Twitch is really easy. There's no email authentication. I don't think. Maybe there is now. But just asking questions is super important. Even in the YouTube comments, if you're watching this not live, of course, this stuff is so important. GG Floof, hard luck at the end. Yeah, it's awkward with how they have to get out from there, right? Like with all the Audacities gone, maybe they have another Trickle Light. Trickle Light is pretty influence heavy. I think it's 3 influence, right? So they're spending 6 on red levels, 9 on Audacity, 10, 11, 12. So maybe they can fit 2 Trickle Lights. But all the ice is in faction, I'm pretty sure. We're looking at border control. The Colossus is so surprising. Like that's kind of the awkwardness is like you want to play a sentry, but what sentry do you play? Wayland used to have pretty okay sentries. Well, not really. Besides Archer and like Surveyor at some point, but it's really awkward. Like I don't know what you do. And then you want to play advanceable ice. I don't think at any means, for any means, all your ice has to be advanceable. So there's a chance that like that Colossus on HQ is better off just being what's it called? The one with the scale, Veritas, right? You play Formicary? Exiled, how's it going? I don't know if you play Formicary. I'm not a big fan of Formicary. It's a weird card. Formicary has a surprise factor, but like I'll take 2 net damage pretty happily in that. Formicary's a sentry you have any, yeah. But like that's not good. If we're getting to the point where we're playing Formicary in our fast advanced rush decks, like yikes, maybe you just don't play a sentry. Back in the day, like maybe you'd play Archer, but only if there's a big blowout, and blowouts just don't happen that often, considering like Simulchip is a thing and Anarchs can install from the heap. I feel like tweaking an old deck to play against you with, but I need to sub out the engrams. It's not too hard to sub out engrams. You just put IP blocks, Eli's. That's pretty good. Mouseless, if you have influence, is basically engram. I think that the BTL deck in startup where it gets Kayambe, yeah, it's a different thing where it has Kayambe. Like then its remote server is a bit more disgusting. I wonder if Start the Fire is a bigger deal in startup. Anemone? Yeah, but you don't play Anemone in a fast events deck, right? Floofy, good game, by the way. Did you trash anything into archives? First, I have 2 questions. Firstly, are you playing 3 Hostile? I doubt it, but I think maybe. And what was in archives? You said 2 Audacity, and there was no agendas in there, right? I was not. Okay. Hey, Solomir. No agendas. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think you would score out in that position that aggressively. If it would that would look like a really rough score to get to 6. That I don't think you'd also throw out agendas. Super flooded early game. Paulina. Okay, hopefully this is a bit slower, but I think we could easily be surprised. But maybe we have time to like set up our cute stuff. Maybe this is like a grind up matchup where we care about our Caldera. Hey. The best of luck. Have fun. Otherwise, having an early diversion, they'll almost always ice HQ. It'd be pretty ridiculous if they didn't. So I think we want to open into a Rizeki. We want to open into, maybe we can push it and get a tech writer. Maybe we want a Masterwork. I'm going to move Mulligan. Pat Tap's really good against Paulina, that's for sure. You can install Pat Tap Draw. It's a good turn. So Paulina says the first time you draw, each turn they gain a credit. We're not going to be drawing on their turn unless they agroplex us. Yeah, there you go. And Boomerang is a bit tricky in this matchup again because of things like, and Inside Job, because things like Anansi. But if they Solomir updated a deck, right? That's from a while ago. I'm assuming this is going to be like somewhat Glacier Paulina. I don't think it's going to be like, this is going to be like mid-range Glacier is my guess. So we can definitely do Pad Tap into draw, which gains us a credit, them a credit. They definitely want to trash these. From here, we can keep drawing. We want to install a hardware. That's what you want to do. This installs for 1 credit and draws a card. I don't know if we actually want to draw a card here. No, I don't want to discard these. I'll just play the gamble. Yeah, right? Calling it now gank Paulina? I hope not. I really hope not. Oh, man. The gentleman's Proco. Yeah, it's gone now. At least they pay the 5 credit Proco, not us. Man, that tab's so frustrating to me. I play so many like aggressive decks, and 3 credits and a click to trash this thing is absurd. And I feel like you can't just leave it. But 3 credits is just so wild. For something costs 0. I don't know. Hansei review, you don't see that often. That's a modern update, so they discarded a card. All right, we can start drawing. Another Pat Tap, good to see. Unfortunately, we got the draw order wrong. Paulina got a credit there. We want to install this next turn. I'm not brave enough to just Bravado HQ. I'll say it, I'm not brave enough. This is an awkward hand. Like, this is a very aggressive hand. Elwin, Wayland's Sentry, Trebuchet clearly. Trebuchet, I think, is like a very good inclusion, but if you're not playing in, what's it called? In the bad publicity corporation, that bad publicity agenda. What's the name of it? Identity, excuse me. Like, it's way too much money. It's way too much money to spend 7 credits. It's a really good ice. But 7 credits and giving bad publicity? No, you can't really afford that. Yeah, the outfit, yeah. Boomerang Bravado, I'm like, if we hit an Anansi, it's disastrous. But name, you think we should? You think we should just rip it? If we do it next turn, we also draw a card. I feel like we could maybe get away with that. I'm just gonna play this. Seems way too slow for me. Boomerang Bravado, like, did they mulligan? Because the only thing that really punishes us is they mulligan, is Anansi. Anansi would be a disaster. I don't think we're worried about DNA tracker, that'd be fine. But next turn we can really push, especially if they're pushing for their moat server. Then that's really awkward because now they're pressured to res one or the other. Pad tap. Oh, we can install clicklessly the boomerang. Yeah, let's do that. HQ. Install. Draws a card. Order doesn't matter. Continue. It's an Anansi. Let's go. We're almost dead. We have to pay 2 credits not to be dead. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And we can break 2 of the subroutines. So we have to draw a card. No, not necessarily actually, but I think we want to pay 2 credits to draw a card. We don't want them to range. We don't want to take the net damage. So we'll break 2 subroutines, and because we haven't broken all of them, we're gonna take 3 net. This is really annoying if you inside job this or anything. Yeah, yeah. I hope you feel bad now about your suggestion, though. I think we'll be okay. The issue too is that like, if we draw here, it might be wrong, because if we draw into one of our breakers and then we lose that breaker very likely to damage, then we're in a really bad spot. So I honestly don't know if drawing is correct. I think we might just want to lose these 3 cards and call it a day. These cards are these cards are fine to lose. We're not going to draw. I'm way too scared of losing a breaker. If we lose our Begalter, it's a good game. We die to a lot of things. Oh, it's another Nazi and a much even bigger hat. Fantastic. At least they spent a lot of money on that. Now 6 credits on the remote server means we would die to an enemy, and we died as like Sai Santan. I already risked a bit. I'm going to play it a bit safe here. Diesel's good. You could also play I've had worse in this slot, but a lot of people argue that 1 credit is worth it. If it's paperclip, you're fine. Yeah, if it's paperclip, you're fine. But if it's the other 2, it's disastrous. The fact that it was a turning wheel obviously would have been fine. We need our 1 singleton pull up before we can deal with this. And by deal with this, I mean like maybe have a chance against Anoetic. Maybe there's a chance that Hansei review means not Anoetic, but hey, pad tap. Sick. Let's go. Okay, that's good. We have a turtle, which is pretty hard when they have 5 strength stuff at minimum. We can get this down for 3 credits. We can get the Begalter down before we lose it. I'm not that scared. We want to draw into another credit card. So one of these is definitely an upgrade. We'll find out soon enough. Maybe this is also just a Lacosta if this is an older deck that has been updated. But we can install this click for credit. We really need a Rozeki. Polana likes Biovaults? I think that's, I don't know. I would not guess the Biovault. I think there's a lot better things you can do modernly. I don't know if Biovault is necessary when you have access to the Anoetic, but Biovault's really good into well, it's not even really good. It's okay into deep dive decks, right? Ag Infusion, mind you, is a thing you can do against deep dive decks. It's actually pretty good. Let's see if they give up on this pat tap. No, but they've hit 3 hedge funds. Damn, 3 hedge funds and a Hansei. That's pretty good for them. Okay, do we believe in Tech Trader? No, but I'm going to commit to it. How much is it to break a Begalter to break an Anansi? I think it's 7 credits, but you get 2 back. So you need 7 up front. So if we install this and install this, we'll be short a credit. Miss Bones might do work, but again, getting through remote server is harder. I don't know. We have a value draw here if we want to. This is on whose turn? When you turn during which install the ends. So this trigger, whose turn does this trigger on? If Paulina triggers on a class deck, is it our turn? Are you taking into account the discount? Yeah, yeah. It's 7, but you get 5 back, right? It's 4 for strength, 3 for subs. So 7 minus 2. I'm gonna try this. This is, again, seems really dubious, but what do I know? I honestly think we could consider the Amakua. IP block I think is pretty reasonable, especially if Solomir has influence that they wanted to spend on and we lost our Citadel. But if Solomir had influence that they wanted to spend, that was classically on what's it called? A Slot Machine or Engram Flush. Actually, Engram Flush is in faction, so maybe it's a bit different. Happens at the end of your discard, so it's on your turn. Okay, good to know. Oh no. Oh. We can't take this. Turtle. We cannot take this because if we lose the Begalter, we're in a really bad spot. No action. I think we're just gonna milk counters here. It's a bit off topic. I saw a match with a cool use of Fencer a couple days ago. Credits to you, saw set slums ma and ES cool combo. Hold on 1 second. I think we can go back here. Getting this to 5 obviously is the best way we can deal with a Nuncy ever, but there is a chance that this deck is running Citadel Sanctuary, not Citadel, sorry, Cyberdeck's Fire Suite, and also is going to surprise us with a purge somewhere. That's going to be disastrous. But we cannot afford to trash this. We have to get the Book Altar on the table. It's Yannick. How's it going? Yannick is from our meta. Yikes. I don't know. I don't love this. This is really awkward. Hey, Paul. Really enjoy your streams. I'm back playing after 5 to 6 years away from it. Played from the very beginning up until the Mumbet cycle. It's good to be back playing again. Yay. There were so many people that dropped off of the Mumbet cycle. It's really cool to see you back. I know that there's a lot of stuff in the game that you used to love back then that is right now still here. I'm glad you've been enjoying the streams. Thanks for the kind words. Slumsmon Neas One Worlds, not Fencer, but it's a good combo. Yeah, I don't love Fencer. I think Fencer is just in general a pretty bad card. But Slumsmon Neas One Worlds and almost One Worlds as well. La Costa going on. We have a card in their remote server, so it looks like they're slow rolling. It could be just big agendas, right? Like just 5/3s with Punitive and or Mwanza or some nonsense. Our money is bad. Gotta be a Biovault? I honestly don't know. It looks like it, right? Considering they double advanced, it could just be a slow roll NGO front. But yeah, I'd guess it's more likely a Biovault. But like we're in no condition to run. Like I think we just run Archives 4 times here, but like we're just not doing enough for ourselves. Draw. Unfortunately, this is much more important. I wanted to draw there specifically to get the pad tap and the value. Do we steal this? I don't think so. This is an agenda. I think server 1's Biovault into agenda is my guess. Either that or they have another agenda in hand. They want to score this and jam next turn, which should also be very fair. If they score a sandbox here, which I think is likely considering that they left Archives open, that's a nightmare for us as well. I think we're just going to go back. But I think we're just straight going to be purged out. At least if we run HQ, we'll make sure that we have at least 7 credits. This is really bad. I feel really underpowered. Z, how's it going? Could we send a message? I guess. I'd be surprised. If they're running the full 5/3 suite, I think you have to, right? No, actually, maybe not. They could be running, I don't know. I feel like Citadel, sorry, La Costa's just so good with 4/2s. But yeah, maybe. We've only seen big eyes so far. All right, Costa advancement. Oh, triple advance. Maybe not a Biovault. Almost definitely not a Biovault at this point. If they purge here, it's such a nightmare. I do not feel confident about what's happening on our side of the table. We just don't have credits. Like, we just do not have money. How do you make money? Penny Shaver would make us so much money here. Our Masterwork hasn't been triggering a lot. Action to draw. They're slow rolling something here. Seamless off the draw. Whoa, that's weird. Is it Jumon? Okay. All right. Well, all bets are off. Well, all bets are now off. Okay. 6/2. Place 2 advancements. Yeah. Dunked on. All right. Okay. Now there is no God. That could easily be a Biovault. Gotta try to live the dream. I am clearly a false flag. This is bad. This is really bad. This doesn't have to be advanceable card, so that could still be what's it called? What we're worried it is. We know there's Obacadas. What's happening? So the issue here too is like we could Bravado HQ, but if this is a Cyberdeck's Fire Suite, it's a huge blowout. I guess we could falsify it. It's a Cyberdeck's Fire Suite. Okay. So that gets us to 5. But now if they purge, like they spend 3 to purge, which clears this. So this is where like I did not love running this. Good to know. Class Act Oboe. Yeah, maybe. I kind of want to keep the Paul up. But I feel like we don't really care about La Costa when they have a Jumon scored. Now if we run this, they can purge, and then we have to break it for 7. That means we could still Bravado HQ. We'd have snare money. I think we got a Bravado HQ. We just got to put some pressure on. No further action. Wow, okay. They maybe keep this for the mode server. So that saved us only 2 credits. It's an anemone. Good to know. We have to watch out. I don't think I play around that card. We haven't drawn, have we? It's a bit awkward to draw this late in the turn. We have to find our, okay, well, we have to find our other breakers. And we'll just class act last click. Ugh. All right. Masterwork is triggered once, I think. No, twice. Once. It always triggers on install, right? Well, not always, but usually. Got to stay above one card in this meta, Anemone and Azef? I guess so. CVS also, this could be like, I don't know if this is bulwark nonsense. But yeah, they probably don't want to purge while this is open. Maybe we just hit R&D here. The issue is like if they purge into a code gate, like what do we do? Eat a code gate? Is that scary? I don't think it's that scary to eat a code gate here. We can also clicklessly boomerang. I just said, is it scary to break a code gate? And Maddie mocked me from the other room. She said, oh, so scary. Okay. 2 advancements. Like, what? What's going on here? We can run it. We can't rely on Amakua. We cannot. If we diversion, we put them down to 8 credits. Again, this could just be an NGO front. Now everything is going to be double advanced. If they purge, we have to break for Bagalter. So basically the Bagalter pays for, or the version pays for the Bagalter. So we don't get anywhere. They go from 13 down to 8 credits. That's not a really big difference. I'm actually okay with just like sure gambling and then running the remote server. And then hopefully boomeranging correctly. Yeah, that's fine. Notably, the Jumon can advance any arbitrary. Oh, totally. Totally. But I'm assuming if they're playing Lacosta, like they have a lot of stuff. We'll just run this. Yeah. We'll do the masterwork first. Oh, yeah, right. It's sometimes good to keep the diesel, especially if we think this is an Obokata, because it allows us to like bounce back. This gave us both credits. But now we're boomeranging this, which more likely forces them to res 2 ice than if we boomerang the inside. But I think there's arguments which one you want to. It's Chiashi, fantastic. All right, we're gonna lose a lot of cards for a deck. Oh no. Yeah, I don't think we have a chance here. At least they're down to 2 credits. If that's not an NGO front. Okay. So we're gonna lose 4 cards. If we lose our Unity, we're done. We're totally done. Because we have an AI installed, right? We just have to go for it. So we'll take 2 net damage and we'll mill 4 cards. So we'll see what we mill. Fine. Oh, that's when we pass, right? Oh, hit me for 4. Hit me for 4 off the top. It's manual. Yeah, it's not automated. I'll just rip 4. Not the typical Polana? No, this is spicy. If this is not an NGO front, their economy is. Diversion of funds, paperclip, Unity, Masterwork. Okay, things were looking really good for a second there when we lost the paperclip, but then losing the Unity, we no longer have decoder, so we have to depend on Amakua. Luckily for us, this is a CVS that we're forced to access. We also don't have a Miss Bones, so this is gonna be a bad thing. It's a sandbox, good to steal. We have to hit this. That purchase, disgusting. But we have to trash that. This thing I don't actually think we trash. It just doesn't make a lot of sense when they have Jumon. And I don't know how we deal with that. Okay, 2 credits. They can't res much. Now we have to just go ham. Let's go ham. Why does everything have hats? Arash, how's it going? This is still from, wait, we can install every run? I forgot about that. I thought it was only the first time. It's from, what's it called? April Fool's. It's still here. Ike, fantastic. Could have considered boomeranging that. I did not think they'd res on 1. I think an enemy is 3. This does make sense. Unfortunately, we have to let this fire. We want to draw 2 because we want to keep our boomerangs. If we pay 2, they can't. There's no way they'll pay 1. They didn't, but we lost our boomerang. So we're down to 2 boomerangs. Additional card. Rashida gone. Hansei review, fantastic. We know there's a what's it called in here? An agenda. We've already drawn. I feel like our money's okay now. I think we just want to run archives for turtle counters. April Fools. I like this Rozeki. Yeah, it's a good Rozeki. It's a cob. Oh, there's a CVS in here, of course. That's fine. We still get one Amaku counter. Yeah. Archive CBS, I totally forgot. That's not going to go too far for us. We can always, I guess we have to draw now into the boomerang. They get a Lacosta. In fact, they have to. It's not an optional. We don't have a mad dash in this list, do we? Oh, we have a single mad dash. We haven't lost it yet, have we? Because the cool thing is if we see an Obokata off the top, we could consider, I don't think actually we're going to need mad dash. We have to win in 2 agendas regardless. They're on 3 credits. Okay, so if we install the pad tab, we can draw to get more money. I think that's worth it because we're going to be going for a couple more turns and we're going to be drawing a fair bit. Falsified does have good value, especially when we have Amakua. And there's a lot of things that they're going to bluff out in their mode server. That's good. I'll just get this down. We got to play for value over time. Okay. Second pad tap. 2 credits first time we draw a turn. This tech trader, I haven't paid attention to it. It hasn't been doing enough to like really care about. Diversion of funds would be quite good. How many do we have left? 1. Fantastic. I don't know why we're as. I'm not sure why we're as. I don't think we've saved enough as credits. Credit. Hansei. And they're back in it. And like we just can't deal with this. Like we need to keep this because we can't deal with code gates. Like as soon as they like have a thimble rig, we're done. Because if they put a thimble rig on their remote server, we can't. We boomerang thimble rig once and then it becomes thimble rig. Like it's unbreakable for us. So we need to keep the Amaku around. Which means like the Chiashi puts like a shelf life on our deck. Because we're gonna have to continually break this. And if we continually break this, we're gonna run out of cards to steal Obokata. They're drawn to Hansei. Okay. With 10 credits, we can break most everything. We don't die to DNA tracker. Let's go. The fact that they're not jamming on the table is the best thing for us. Caldera is interesting. It means we could break this for 6 credits, which is honestly like not the worst thing for us. What breaks Chiashi well? Boomerang is fine. Paperclip is fine. Like 12 for 7. Like that's okay. The issue is the AI clause. Fantastic. All right, we have to add one of these back. I think it's probably the next class act. Class act is good to burst draw. If we diversion is not that impactful, we spend 5, they spend 5, lose 5, we gain a turning wheel token, we gain 5 back. The Caldera I'm kind of interested in. It means that we can deal with an enemy because we're at the point where like every card matter draws. Femme Fatale for 3. Yo, Frank, yeah, Femme Fatale's okay, but people generally don't play Femme. Could overinstall Amaku if you're not worried. I'm very worried about like a thimble rig. That I think we need the Amaku, but it's hard because they're running like sandboxes, so they probably have multiple CBSs. I think we do Caldera. And we just have to hit for centrals. Like we have to go for accesses. This draws us, which gives us credits, them credits. This means we also pay through snare, which at some point we want to consider doing because we probably need 8 credits for hit points. We'll draw. Oh, mad dash. Again, I don't think that matters. NGO front, we'll take that down. Shuffle that back in. So we can actually run and go again. Ooh, this actually gets really interesting with the tech traders. We can see 2 new cards. Let's do it. Just we got to remember to we can't lose those to damage. If we lose those to damage, it's a problem. There's an Oboe in archives, yeah. The Jumons, if we get a Jumon, like we still win off archives anyways. I wonder if they're gonna make us draw. Yeah, they are. That's actually kind of obnoxious for us. Seamless, okay. Ike, no good. Cards to throw out. I don't think we carry about the pull up. We haven't seen a defensive remote yet. I don't think the mad dash matters because I'm assuming they're on 3s and 2s, so we're gonna have an Obokata to steal anyways. 2 Ike on server is annoying. 2 Ike on server is really, really annoying. Was that the next card? No, it's seamless into Ike, so they don't know. We definitely don't need this. These are okay. Like this gives us something to do. I think it's a pull up. It does have a trash can on it, but whatever. Are you able to steal the open archives? We are, but we like there's no rush to do it. We haven't seen a spin doctor yet. That might be a reason to, or like a genotyping or some sort of shuffle effect, but I'm not in a rush to take the damage. Like as soon as we hit off RD, then we just smash archives. But like, I don't know. Amaku's on 2. Once Amaku's on 3, they have to purge because then we get through the Ikes for cheap. So that seems to be double Ike, which is not sustainable. So actually, I think we might have to like diversion HQ just to get a Amaku counter. Like I think the play is diversion HQ to get a turning wheel counter and to get Amaku at 3. Oh no, we have to access, so we can't diversion. Ugh. What do we know in hand? I think we only know Seamless, right? Yeah, Andrew, how's it going? Been a while getting back to post-COVID IRL play the Tuesday in Sydney. Yo, enjoy. That's really cool. So much value here at back channels. Yo, enjoy it. In play is kind of great. Mad Dash matters if we run out of cards. Yeah, it could matter if we have to steal like a Jumon, another 2-pointer, but it doesn't necessarily matter. It's definitely worth holding on to. Are there deuces in the deck? No, I don't think so. No. Okay, so we're assuming it's double Ike, but the Ike actually could be here. I kind of want to go HQ to get to 3 advancements, but again, that costs us 5 credits. It's not too bad. We get a turning wheel. Again, if we draw, they get credits, we get credits. If we diversion, though, we don't access cards, so our hatted turtle does not get a charge. We don't really want to boomerang this because we won't break all of it, and then we need to break all of it to get the Begalter refund. An enemy is also very likely. No. What does Jumon do? It's a 6/2 that says on the end of their turn, they can place 2 advancements on a card in a server. So everything is a bluff or like a very quickly scored agenda. It seems expensive. Ike's 1 to res, 3 strength. Yeah, exactly. We want to get this to 3. So Costa. Okay, so now we're at 3. At 8 credits, this could be another Anansi. And I'm actually pretty sure if they have an Ike, they wouldn't stack 2 Ikes. So in retrospect, this turn seems a bit bad. Why is Ike good? It seems like it doesn't really the runner that much card wise. Yeah, it's the credits. It's like the ratio. That's why Nice is saying this. It's just the value is pretty strong. Like that's a lot of subroutines. It's a lot of strength for only 1 credit. Admittedly, the runner can draw cards, but a lot of these decks, like if we run out of cards, like we can't interact with them because we died at enemies, we can't steal Obacadas. There's a lot of reasons. It's not always great because sometimes if they draw mid-run, it stops like certain decks from having teeth, like you don't die to snare, but it's just very, very, very good value for cost. Like a lot of people struggle with this. Try breaking this when people play Angolo. It's like you res for 1, they break for like 4 credits. Yeah, an enemy on Archives is, I think, probably more likely because it obviously protects the Obacata. So maybe this is double. I don't know. We have to pay 4 credits for the run. Not excited. I think we definitely want to draw because we get 2 credits. Orb is good. The game will go long enough for Corn Orb to be good. Ugh, they have a lot of big eyes. Ike's so good, you played it in a pool with the Og. I don't even know about that, but yeah, maybe at that point you would switch to Mind Game. But yeah, Ike's great. It's competing with Diviner and Tithe. Yeah, there were better slots back in the day when things like Engram Flesh were legal. Like that was kind of wild. These sort of decks would also, on top of Ike, play Slot Machine when that was a legal card in the format, just because those cards are so good and taxing for the price. Ike's the worst of the 3, but it's the best you have. I don't know other what code gates you'd be excited to play. Like you could play Mind Game, but it forces you to pay some money. But like hopefully you like put it further down the server. It's just good numbers. It's good. I really don't like Diviner. What are we on even? Oh, 2 odds. Never mind. Ice on HQ. Okay. They spend money on that though. That's good. Cortex Lock is really mean. Yeah, but the Cortex Lock isn't in the standard format. Cortex Lock is a card that back in the day is like, it's a card that you need to know exists. Because yeah, it was good for this like sort of early game. 2 credits to do something crazy. But yeah, this is just more value. Okay. At this point, we could boomerang run R&D. See 2 cards. It's been a while. I feel like that's a fine play. Hoping for the best. We can see what we draw first, but generally doesn't change much. Oh, yeah. We have 9 cards, so we could steal Obacata and another Obacata, but the enemy here is going to be a problem. Luckily, we do have a Caldera. We just don't have money. Just you wait for Biotic Red Planet Couriers. Oh my god. If they actually overinstall and trash our boomerang, that's really bad for us. Because this is a pretty good engine. This is fine. This is fine. Thinking. I'm glad we boomeranged this. This actually is not surprising considering the deck. The purge is important. The trash run virus is important. The end the run on 1 when we have 1 link is not important. So we will boomerang what we can. Yeah. There's no virus to remove from game, so they don't really have to fire the second trace. They could boost a lot into this, but we have double Rizeki, double pad tap. I feel like we're favored here on the long term in terms of like just throwing money at each other. We'll see. Yeah, trace 1. And we start with 1 link. Again, if you might not know what traces are, if you're just from the world of a system gateway, but basically a trace starts with a base strength. So it says trace 1 there. So that's the strength of the trace. And the corp can spend a credit to boost it, and then they say how many credits they spend. So they spend nothing. Then it goes to our side of the table. We start with our link, which is 1. All of the system gateway runners are 0. And then we spend money. And if we tie or succeed, the trace is unsuccessful. They also got Tech Trader Dollar. Yeah, no, we got money from that for sure. This, we will break 2 subroutines. Influence count? Give me 1 second, I'll check. Macrophage, CVS, and Sandbox. Someone hates Virite. This is an older deck, Solomir said that they updated. And back then, like, that was... People played that pretty consistently. I don't know if we want to draw. I think we're fine drawing. If we draw, like, what do? We pay the Tech Trader, I guess? Maybe, do we pay a credit to not have to draw? Apparently we did. I didn't mean to. Oh, no, hold on. Oh, shit. I wanted to access 2. Do you mind? Ah, fuck. Thank you. It's an Urtica Cipher. It's fine. They can draw this because we have a falsified. We can always expose it. How do we fix this? I think we'll just run back and pass all the ice. Yeah, I think we have to do that like that. Otherwise, it's really complicated. That's annoying. We won't trash that. Yes, I'll just run back. Counter power 2. Click. Run. R&D. Yeah, undo click is annoying because there's so many triggers and traces. I'm just gonna like brute force through this. Yeah, we definitely wanted to hit this. I've been missing these triggers a fair bit. No action. Obokata. Okay. We definitely take this. Okay. So, can we run archives and win? Turtle counter -1? Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. So we have exactly 6 cards. Thank you, yeah. If you run back, you should see the same thing. We do, but with the turning wheel, we'll see 1 deeper. We use this every 2 counters sees you an additional card. So I didn't want to see just the Urtica. I want to see the Urtica and what was underneath it. Okay. So, could they be on a punitive? Yeah, I don't think the math works out. We definitely want to run archives. We have to be able to break ice, and we have to have enough credits that we can deal with the anemones, which means we need to keep Caldera. So I think here we're just going to draw up. And hopefully we have enough. Anemone is going to be 6 credits to break. And then, I don't know what happens. I think we just draw up everything. You stole turtle should be fine? No, because if you steal, you don't get a turtle counter. We got a turtle counter from the first run, where we just saw the Urtica. But if we run back and see an Urtica and something, we don't get counters. Okay, so it's now money. Luckily, if we draw, we get more. The question is, do we play a sure gamble? They just drew an Urtica. Ah, interesting game. We've been playing so far without a decoder, right? Like, you can figure this stuff out, hopefully. Okay, the question is like, what is the nightmare scenario? We haven't seen a Kakugo yet. And this deck actually could be before Kakugo was legalized, so maybe Solomir didn't put that in the list. That's going to be 4 credits for us to break, so it'd be a 9. Anemone, we can take 1 of the damage if we really need to. That's, I think it's 2 strength, right? So that's free to break, but 3 more credits. So that's 7 credits. If it's an Ike, that's fine, because I'm a coup guess through it. I'm pretty sure we can just... If it's an Achiashi, they can't res it, which is fine. If it's a Nancy and Nancy, they can't res it. So I think we have enough credits. We actually could be cocky enough to play the sure gamble and run archives, because we have Caldera. With 13 credits, again, we can do 3, 6, 9. I don't know what we can't get through. I'm just going to run archives. Again, there is an Obokata in here. We could do that. Did we already draw? Yeah, we already drew. That was actually a mistake. We could have free drawn. The boomerang, no. Actually, the boomerang's probably right. Because the boomerang we install for only 1 credit loss. I don't think so. It gets a card out of her hand, but actually, yeah, man, actually, maybe. Too late. If it's what's it called? It's really annoying. If it's a macrophage, it's annoying. Let's see. I forgot that we would have drawn a card with the boomerang, and so that's actually worth considering. The problem is if we boomerang get an Nancy, it's a problem. This is fine. This isn't an enemy. It's a sentry, so we can break it. Prevent any of the damage we have to. Luckily, this is why we installed this. So this we break for free. We get the refund. So this is obviously very strong at protecting Obacatas, but the Caldera don't care. They have 8 credits left. We have 7, so we can exactly break an Anansi. The problem here would be if it's like a 4 strength and the run code gate. Oh, it's exactly a Nancy? We're credit perfect? We probably should have played the sure gamble, let's be honest. Oh my god, we're credit perfect. Sick. I didn't do the math well enough there. Jumon is always a win. We're in. We could have actually let some of this break. Like we could have broke. No, we'd have to break all of it. Yeah. Damn. Yeah, we should have considered. I think it was safer to play the sure gamble. Yeah, Jumon's definitely a moral victory. Okay, let's get it. Let's go. Good game. That was exciting. I was worried about the Unity loss. Let it rip. Yeah, so there's some things that would be a problem. Thimble rig is not that big of a deal. I think if they had IP block, we would have struggled. Thimble rig, like with the Amaku, is fine, but you need to keep the Amaku for that. I'm installing boomers right in this last run, I think. I think I could have gambled from hand. I was pretty sure an enemy was outside. That leaves 7, which I think is a worst case scenario. I don't know what it would have been bad. I think macrophage could have been awkward. Because if it was like macrophage into Kakugo, it could have been a problem because we had to actually beat 3 of the traces. But at that point, I think we're just throwing credits at each other, and then we'd be okay. Maybe. Oh wait, no, we had a paperclip, right? No, we had a paperclip. That would be fine too. Kakugo would have been fine. We break Kakugo for 5. So if it was a what's it called? If it was a macrophage, I think we could have just let the trace fire and beat the trace 1, which would have been pretty easy considering the link. And then from there, if it's a Kakugo, we pull the paperclip. If it is an Aiki, we pay 6, just like we did for the enemy. So I think we'd be okay. I think we'd be all right. Hey, Solomir, good game. Yeah, this is an old list. Yeah, it doesn't have Kakugo in it, huh? I think there was a chance that like when you modernized it, you might have forgot that Kakugo was back in because I was expecting it. We didn't see it so far. What's the influence on? Like we saw seamlesses. We didn't see spin doctors. We didn't see any ice that was out of influence. I'm expecting IP blocks or something like that, which is we were scared about the Amakua. I just swapped engrams for 2 in enemy and Aiki number 3. Oh, okay. Yeah, Kakugo is quite good. 3 border control, 3 seamless. Whoa. So no spin doctor, huh? Because like you jettisoned this early. Did you jettison the Obakata to Hansei? It looked like you did. Yeah, lol, no spin. Yeah, spin's quite good. It's quite good. But hey, you Jumon, so you win. Yeah, you Hansei the Obo. Yeah, Hansei is like always more awkward than it looks. I guess Hansei the Obo is okay, but yeah, a spin doctor would help, right? Hey, it's Sebastian K playing. That's exactly the Greed Bop, and I kind of want to play this. Man, I just wish, like, so far everything we've done really hasn't shown off the power of Az. It does make things look cute. Like you do see how Masterwork into installing the boomerang clicklessly, and then you get credits off the tech writer, but like none of it seems very powerful. Like I kind of agree with this comment here, and I know we talked to Narco, and Narco just said like I wanted to play something slightly different. But I like this deck a lot. Based on our Jinteki games, you obviously a much stronger pilot than I am. But whenever I try to pilot, the tech traders feel like dead draws into the late game, and it felt like that too. Like there was so often that we drew that stuff and either the game was too fast or we drew it and it did not get enough triggers. I feel like the tech trader we installed, maybe we installed it for free and then maybe it did give 4 or 5 credits, but it's not very obvious, specifically because on JNet it's automated and we're not looking at it. Built a new version. I'm Sebastian K. Yo, but I think it's probably jank. Yo, of this or of your greed list? Because I'd love to see it. I'm a big fan of this list, but I do definitely want to make it less late game value oriented. What was the rotated out version of Caldera? The direct reprint before that was oh shit, it was a Shaper one. Hold on. It was something from Creative Commission, right? Oh, it was the greed one? Okay, what do you got? I'd love to see it. Not Creative Commission, excuse me. It was from Creation and Control. What was the name of the old Caldera? Caldera is like basically a direct reprint, but it's like strictly better. Because the other one, if you want to prevent brain damage, you have to trash the card. Maybe that's not strictly better because it's not permanent, but it was free. It was Net Shield. Isn't Net Shield the one that's only the first to turn? I don't think it's Net Shield. Net Shield's the core set one. It's Feedback Filter. Thank you, Kat. Yeah, Net Shield's from the core set, which is only the first net damage and it's programmed. But we had this, which was hardware, which actually made more sense for from Shapers back in the day with people like Kate, who installed this for 1 credit. But this was 3 credits for 1 net damage and 2 for brain damage. But for what it's worth, it's harder for corporations generally to trash hardware than it is for them to hate out resources. There's a lot of ways that you could destroy resources in Jinteki specifically. Either you can play the horse's head, voter intimidation, and just trash a resource. You could also just like hit the with oh man, what's the name of that type list trap that trashes a resource? 1 credit cheaper to install in Caldera. Yeah, that's a good point. It was 1 credit cheaper. 2 credits also for Kate. What's the one it's called? Caldera did end winning the game. Yeah, we know that we needed to play Caldera, and I feel like with cards like an enemy, it's a bit more noticeable. I honestly would think of playing it on next weekend because I know there's Jinteki players in my meta. First time I brought a janky PU deck to Netrunner meetup. My first Shaper I played plopped down a Net Shield and made my soul die. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's really rough when that happens. And that's those sort of cards like I never loved. Like there's not that much nuance to them. It's admittedly expensive. Sadaka, thank you, nice. I don't know if I said hi, by the way. You've been here for a while, huh? Yeah, no, this also can do it. There's Sadaka on my list. Was installed in HQ. Yeah, okay, that's worth knowing. I think you might yeah, I think you would Sadaka the what's it called? The at that point in the game, you definitely would consider Sadaking the Caldera, but we did have 3 credits. Like this is another good reason for Amakua. How do you feel about the tech traders with only boomerang triggers? Poorly. Thanos, poorly. I don't love it. I don't feel like you can get enough value with these unless every game is consistently going late enough that you can do like the boomerangs every turn. I feel like maybe you could get more triggers into the deck. Like this is a much better use, but like so many of our cards in this deck have trash cans. Like the sports hopper has become quite cute. Spy cameras on top of that. I don't love security chip. I wouldn't play it. Security chip I would only play for also playing Amakua because they really work well together. And then you have like charm and flip switch and not charm, but flip switch and other stuff. Daily cast probably gives you money faster. Daily cast definitely gives you money faster. And I totally did not realize that this deck doesn't have daily cast. And I do feel like the money there is just not there. Like if you don't draw the Rizekis, like there's not a lot of money in this list, like money over time stuff. Like normally there's daily cast. We have the pad taps, which the corporation left. Is System Core 2019 replaced by 2021? Totally scrub, yeah. Why nobody plays Another Day, Another Paycheck? Housekeeping. All currents have been banned from the format for a while now. From standard format, at least. From basically, you stand up and standard and I guess they're not in startup. But yeah, there's no not that like anybody played this card outside of Sunny, which is like a potentially very powerful card. But yeah, no, we haven't had currents legality for a while. I know Pat played this when he played his Sunny deck at Worlds and finished top Sunny like in the last FFG Worlds. I like this card. But like the thing is, if you're playing Criminal and you're playing currents back in the day, you had better currents. I've seen a bit of fake Sunny Az on JNet, but it feels like Sunny's better. Sunny right now is actually pretty good. I think you maybe justify the tech traders with the more aggressive draw engine, where you expect to burn through your whole deck faster. Yeah, I think so. And like I think the things that could support that pretty easy are like sports hoppers coming down for 2 credits in Az, and then clicklessly drawing, even like pad tapping on Palana on their turn. Like there's something there. I feel like that's actually quite cool. You get through your deck quite fast with sports hopper. So Sebastian posted their list. 1 Mad Dash, still only 1 event. Hold on. I don't know how to show this better. So only 1 event. So that I'd love just to have more events to be able to start up sooner. 3 Boomerang, 1 Docklands Pass, 3 Flip Switch. We're pretty on. 1 Lucky Charm, 3 Masterwork, 3 Prognostic Q Loop, 3 Simulchip. 3 sports hoppers, so we dropped the sec chip. We've dropped 1 lucky charm, 6 spy camera. Okay, we have 1 abigail, 3 bankroll, 1 Begalter, 1 clot. Yo, Sebastian, have you tried revolver at all? It feels like it seems like it would fit in the shell. You have 2 RNG key. Whoa, that's cool. 1 Reaver. Okay, 1 SMC, which makes a lot of sense with the Reaver. Then we have 1 Miss Bones, which is, you install that for cheaper, which is nice. And I think you need Miss Bones in this meta. 2 Paul Op, which is a trash can as well. 3 Tech Trader, 1 the back. So we're losing Tech Writer and trading it for Tech Trader. I don't understand. Does this deck have more money? I feel like you just cut money though. Like if you can't run often because you can't get bankroll triggers, like the Tech Raiders were really slow, but there's a lot of money in them. At least when I played. I'll try that though. Earthrise. Yeah, Earthrise is an option too. It doesn't fit any of the Az triggers, but this deck also doesn't have Earthrise. But yeah, I guess that's what 3 class acts are for, right? Tech Rider feels like way too slow for this meta. Tech Rider, yes. But hey, we got the greed in it. The Sunny Current was just a counter scarcity, right? When Pat ran it? I think so, but also it's like an ultimate win more card. But I think you're right, scarcity was at that Worlds. Tech Rider and Fermenter needs to go, but I don't know what money to replace it with besides RNG key. This is still very greedy. I guess I should probably have Bravados. I think Bravados is really good. I think Sure Gamble is also just worth playing just to like get spun up quickly, because I found myself awkwardly clicking for credits until you have like the Tech Traders. So I think either of those could be fine. I'm a bit like dubious about the RNG keys, because RNG keys works pretty well with Spy Camera, but generally with Spy Camera I only want to be running R&D. I don't want to be running R&D for RNG key value. I want to be running R&D when it's an agenda. So the times that you can do that are fewer and far between, but maybe not the worst. No burst draw seems like it'd be a slow start. It is a very slow start. Well, Sports Hopper is burst draw, but otherwise, yeah. And the Fermenter was cut too, right? Yeah, I think he said the Fermenter was cut. 1 Clot. Yeah, Fermenter's actually, it's nice. It's not bad. It's a trash can. It gives you a fair bit of money. I heard Daily Cast is a good money card from Cat. Yeah, Daily Cast is, but like, it's also a prognostic Q loop deck, right? So it kind of forces you to play a slightly different, like you want to play as few non-programs and hardware. Like that, it can't be underestimated. Yeah, I like Fermenter for a bit. Okay, I'm going to copy this into my list. I think actually I might already have it in my list, and I'm going to try and change it a bit to see what we can do. But I like Sebastian, where you're going, for sure. How do we copy it in? Actions, copy. It's mine now. Spy Cam without its best friend's replicator? I don't mind it. It's like not too bad. It's awkward because it eats the Az trigger, but it's nice because it hits the Masterwork trigger. And with a lot of them, like it's a very cheap install off the top of your deck with prognostic, so it's not the worst. But it's a bit awkward with Az, where you want to install 1 a turn, but like it eats the Az trigger. Yeah, it's not great. Catherine, how's it going? Sec testing, run for 2 credits, hardware, install, draw. Look at the top 2. Sec testing is like a really difficult card. Because sec testing is, you're right, it's really good when you have multiple triggers. Let me just pull it up. When you have multiple triggers that are triggering on a successful run, right? So the idea is that you run, you get your bankroll, you get everything on top of it. The issue though now is like some people are really fast. There's a lot of reasons to ice up every server to some extent, but playing the sec testing and then like, I don't know. Maybe you'd need to play something else to make that run more profitable, like for Jack Sinclair or some nonsense. Sec testing light the fires really play? Install draw. You're right though, actually, with the prognostic combo, it's not too bad, right? Because you're sec testing and you have a lot of already built in triggers. That's interesting. That is actually kind of interesting. And of course you have bankroll too. I don't mind that. I don't know if it's worth playing them in the same deck, but it does trigger. What do you mean? I'm not sure I follow. Cube Spy Cam seems like maybe something though. Yeah, Cube Spy Cam is fun. Where is my deck? Didn't I copy this? I thought, do I have to refresh? What happens? Burn it down for security purposes? I think I'm missing an interaction. Okay, things let's edit. I think we don't need the back, right? We're going to play 1. Let's try and drop the Tech Writer. Things we don't need 2 of these. The Mad Dash is obviously quite good. I'm going to try and drop Clot, but there's a chance it's fine. For the Breaker Suite, we have Abigail, which has a trash can on it. We have Begalter. I'm going to try and play Revolvers, but I feel like we need more than 1 Revolver, which is awkward. So maybe we can play 2 Revolver. I don't know. Sec testing was like the fire, like, looks like it does work. But what does it work? I don't get it. Security, testing, light the fire. Like you can make a run a remote server. During the run, cards in the root of the attack server lose all abilities. When the run is successful, trash all cards in the root of the attack server. And this says, the first time you make a successful run, instead of breaching it, gain 2 credits. Oh, so the idea is that you can get security testing and trigger light the fire. Now, the wording on this is different, but I'm assuming that this is a replacement effect. So you can only trigger 1 replacement effect at a time, right? Like the idea is like this or bank job. You can't bank job and security testing. Instead of breaching that server, you may take any number of credits from this resource. The difference is that light the fire doesn't say instead of breaching. It says when the run is successful, trash all cards. So the idea is that this should work with security testing because it's not a breach replacement. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. I guess, yeah, it does sound like it lines up. I'm not sure if this is just different wording, but Nisei does use breach. Huh. That's kind of cool. That's not gonna happen a lot, right? Like, I don't think it's nice. It's nice to know of though. That's really cool. Light the fires the Hyobu precog manifold window. Light the fires in the Hyobu precog manifold window. But isn't that when approaching? When the runner makes a successful run on the server, you and the runners. I'm so surprised that that's a window. No, that's not. That's a weird window. You and the runner secretly spend 0, 1, or 2. Because when that comes to things like what's it called? What is it called? Anoetic. Anoetic says when you breach the server, right? Oh, approaches the server. So that's the run's not considered successful yet. That's wild. And goes first on the running turn. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, we can try revolvers. Not excited to play 2 of them, but we can. We have bankroll. I guess we can play a single. Self-modifying code does seem cool. It's a very flexible trash can. And it lets us find our Reaver, which is a really big part of this deck. This deck has an absurd amount of draw once you get going. A single Miss Bones. I'd love to have 2 if we could. Our influence is over. We can get rid of a sec chip. I think we're playing RNG keys. What other things can we play that are like a collection standard that are on value? So we want to play as many hardware. We want to play as many trash and as many programs. I think Turtle's a possibility, but this Az deck does not run that often. Would Light the Fire fit in this deck? It definitely would. It definitely would, but like we kind of have that sort of flexibility by playing already political operative and on top of that like Lucky Charm, so it's not necessary. But I think it's definitely possible. I think it's the sort of thing where if you want to flip away your Reaver and have some more influence to work with, you'd consider it. I feel like this might be too many. We can always shuffle this back too, which is nice. But I just feel like having early gambles, like that was a big thing that we saw some of the Geist decks that were like winning worlds or getting close to it a couple years ago. They were just Geist decks, but then they realized we have to play Geist, but we also have to play Sure Gamble and Bravado. Just to be not incredibly greedy. Because like Boomerang Bravado is just such a good play in the early game. It does everything you want it to do. Yeah, Light the Fire is a trash can for sure. Yeah, right? Like this sort of deck. It was like the classic, very flexible shell too, because they could play Claude if they needed to. How old is this? No, this is a bit too old. But yeah, no, actually it's not too old. But it's just like, this was weird. People playing Diversion and playing Bravado really helps you. It slows down the game. I feel like Diversion is slightly less impactful than it used to be, considering people can do a lot with very few credits in the modern game. Actually, this is older than I think it should be. Oh, this is a really weird deck. I love Brick's deck. Do we have anything 2021 or this was the last year, right? I think it's the one we're thinking about. Yeah, with Claude and the grappling hook. So right, they're still saying we need 3 Sure Gamble, we need 3 Bravado, and that's just so that we're relevant in the early game. And I believe that. This deck is also a bit less greedy. It has fewer simul chips. But simul chip is really cool because it triggers actually, does it trigger anything? No, it doesn't really trigger anything. Do we need that many simul chips? Haley Geist is cool. You could DJ Fenris into Haley back in the day. I'm not sure if you need that sort of power. Do we need 3 simul chips? How important is 3 simul chips? With the revolver, it seems kind of important. But like, I would love to put Bravado in here. Simul chip is for the Claw threat? Yes, in this version it's for the Claw threat, but it's also just flexible, right? Like it lets you pull back or install your breakers cheaper. It lets you spam grappling hook. Because this is basically a free install that gives you 3 credits and draw with Geist. Like it was very, very good in Geist. I'm just not sure if we need 3 in this deck. Maybe our dependency on Revolver will change that. But maybe we can carve some more influence out of this list. Let's go down to 2. I don't know. What else would we play, though? Street Pillar was such a powerful card. Like Paperclip? Paperclip might just be worth it, because Mockler is terrible. Mockler is like really, really, really quite bad. Have to be careful about being dragged through sentries if you can't recur revolver much. Yeah, hopefully we can. The thing is, like, we have 2 revolvers. They go pretty far. On top of that, we have multiple silent chips and we have the back. So, and the boomerang, right? Like, we don't depend on it having like a consistent breaker. We might be able to deal with this. I don't know. We could consider removing this. I kind of would not be too... Maybe we can just do that. That gives us 1 influence. What does everyone like for 1 influence? What's a 1 influence trash can? We can probably look at hardware. Rizeki? Rizeki doesn't seem like what this deck wants to do. I think there's an argument that Rizeki's always the right call. What else do we have access to? Chopbot's not going to do it. It's never crypt. The one list of the cat meme is bothering me because it wasn't used correctly. I'm not sure which one that was. Turning wheel? Turning wheel's fine. Turning wheel's okay. The thing is, like, this deck doesn't run that often. It's more about playing control, like running the remote server and then spy cameraing the top. It's not a bad idea. I like these sort of lists that actually had Stargate in them because it could close the game off, and I like that a fair bit more. Again, we'd have to like pivot off of this. Maybe we'd be less greedy and not play Reaver and play Stargate instead. I think that's actually probably reasonable. And then have 2 influence left over, which maybe puts a Simul chip back in, or like play a Light the Fire. I think that's actually a possibility. Yeah, I think that actually is a pretty strong possibility. We also consider playing Hunting Grounds. It's a trash can. No, we probably shouldn't do that. As you can purport, this deck doesn't run that much. The 3 bankroll seem off. I think this deck runs more than I think it does. I think it really does, just because it gets value from these 2 triggers. I think I'm wrong about that. Yeah, I think you want to run slightly more than I think you do. Maybe you just play Rizeki? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's exactly on brand. Yeah, it runs archives. Yeah, it runs for like sort of that sort of value. The thing is, like, security testing is just like another like value over time card. And I feel like we just need more aggression. Like, again, the bravado. I would actually be pretty interested in trying to drop the Reaver. I don't know how often. 3x pad tap? Oh yeah, diversion pad tap. There's some really good stuff you could run. I consider dropping the Lucky Charm. I feel like it's too greedy. I'd also consider dropping the Docklands Pass. We could try this. There's a chance that Bravado is better than Sure Gamble, but I feel like we've made it slightly less greedy. We could also consider dropping a bankroll and playing like another Bravado. I think that might be fine too. I just want to make sure that we have enough prognostic triggers. And I think there's a lot of flexibility here. I hate that we have 1 influence left over, but I think we could do something with this. Miss Bones Paul up, yeah. We also could play like a class act. It works with Az. It's a bit awkward though, because Az has a lot of like these stacked triggers where you kind of ruin it. No Doof and Crim feels uncrim. I feel you. I'd love to play Doof in this just to slow down the corp. Sec testing really needs DL and Penny Shaver. That's so we do have bankroll and we do have prognostic masterwork though. So like we do have those sort of baked in triggers that I think we can get enough value out of running. Floating influence on Fenris Rebirth. I don't think there's anyone we'd want to rebirth into. Actually, no, that's not true. We'd always want to rebirth into Steve. Yeah, we'd always want to rebirth into Steve. Fenris, I don't think there's a good trigger. I don't think there's anyone would be excited. But I think if anything, we could consider rebirthing into Steve. But the issue is not even that. Like, we don't have a lot of events. A lot of our cards recur themselves anyways. So I don't even know. The less Greed Bop? We'll try this. When's the Fenris into Max Big Crim deck? We need Hostage. We need a way to like be able to consistently play Fenris on turn 1. I missed Stimac to fill the 1 influence. Turning Wheel is 1 influence. I think Turning Wheel is probably reasonable. I'm gonna try playing 45 cards and see how it goes. I'd rather play Stargate than Fenris. I mean Stargate than Turning Wheel. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll try this. It's already 11:20. Oh, it's gonna be. It's like one of the. This is not the sort of deck that I'd be excited to play this late at night, because there's a lot of triggers and it's gonna be a mess. Az McCaffrey. Let's go, Robarm. I feel like in every time that we played this deck, we have not got Reaver on the table. We've just been unlucky, but hopefully the self-modifying code helps iron those issues out. Figuring out when to use the self-modifying code aggressively is going to be a big part. We just have to hope it's not. I have to hope we mulligan into it, like Tech Trader, that, and like, I don't know, Sure Gamble, Masterwork. Let's go. I also don't know, like, what's an ideal matchup? Like mid-range? Actually, Glacier, like straight Glacier is pretty good. Trace-based like Acme or Asmari. I think Asmari is pretty good. Acme is actually probably pretty hard. Yeah. And it's wild that we have Revolver, but like, I don't know what sentries we're worried about. Like, Anansi's pretty good. You get through Anansi's for like, what? I think 4 credits. And you can get through 2 of them. And like Ansel, you get through Ansel for what? 2 credits, I think? What's the math on Ansel? Oh, it's awkward. 4 credits as well. Oh, no, 2 credits. 2 credits. That's sick. That's really, really good. 2 credits and half a gun. I'll take it. And you can always like dump it early, right? Like you can always fire it off so that you can use stim hack aggressively instead of like trashing it manually. You can actually like the idea is that if you know you're going to use your simulchip, because simulchip triggers off the idea is like, say you're running through an on-cell and you have like 2 bullets left. You could always, and this depends on the game state, but you could always use the trash ability on the Revolver to fire the Tech Trader, and then that allows you to simulchip as well because you've trashed a card that turn. It's an interesting idea because sometimes it's actually you generate credits by not shooting the last bullet but throwing the gun instead. I think also Vincent, when you talk about stim hack was also a really big deal in these the old German NWE guys. They talked about how stim hack being is a very important card for these decks, and it helps you with prognostic. It's just obviously very strong. It helps you with Street Peddler. Obviously, stim hack is an absurdly powerful card. I don't think if you play Overclock, it's worth the slot, considering everything else we have going on. 7 games, not a lot of games right now. I'm worried that we're gonna wait a while for a game and then we're gonna start at like 11:40 and it'll be going on till like 12:30. There's just no way we can build this deck and not try it. How are we doing? Yeah, we're doing okay on time. JTF plays interesting decks. Let's go. Oh, GameNet. Don't love it, but I feel like this is the sort of matchup that we can maybe do okay with. I really don't like playing GameNet. Thanks, you too. The fact that they punish interaction, don't love it. Opening with Reaver, but opening with no other economy. No Tech Trader, no Sure Gamble, no Bravado. Reaver's the best card in hand by a mile. We have Prognostic Q Loop, but you need economy to sustain this. I think we're gonna mull. Oh, that looks nice. It's a bit much. You'll see the end of your deck here. Yeah, we'll definitely get to the end of it. Yeah, we're gonna mull though. Tech Trader comes down for free, and then we don't eat our spy camera trigger, which is nice. Again, this is the first time you install a job connection or hardware, so you don't want to open with installing a hardware that costs 0. I don't know what kind of ice they're gonna be running. Bologna, I'm assuming. I don't know whether this is like Vladislabursk, and they have to run a lot. Icing up though, a lot of their ice is trace ice. What are we assuming they have? IP block, F2P. The issue is like I keep thinking that you can hit spy camera for value and like see a card and draw a card, but we're not Geist. Like if we pop this, we just get information, which is okay and a credit, but like not amazing. Okay. A Revolver will deal with F2P for, is F2P 5 strength for 4 credits? Ugly. I think it's 4 to res 5 strength, right? And we'll install this just so we don't eat our trigger. Does someone make Bizarre work without Replicator? Yeah, slap them all down. We really want to draw into our Masterwork sooner than later. 2 ice. At this point, they want to get a daily quest brewing. Rashida here could be pretty likely. I think at this point, do we just like Bravado? Do we just look at the top of the deck and Bravado? It's a Jinja. Cards I don't like. That's a Jinja. That's a nightmare. This is going to be like a rhyme deck, so they want to put everything on one remote. And again, we don't have Stargate. We don't have a way to quickly close off centrals, which is definitely an issue. Flip switch is really good. It means we can be pretty aggressive. We can just Bravado flip switch. Another good reason why flip switch gets a lot better, or Bravado gets a lot better in this deck, is that we can just slap this down for free. Bravado remote server. If they're playing Jinja, it's less likely they're on hard hitting news. There's a rhyme. Okay. We get our money back when we pass this, so we're fine. They gain credit. Continue. We can also use this as a clear tag, which is pretty valuable. We only have 2 credits when we access, which means we can't trash Jinja. Might have been a miscalculation. Maybe we want to put the misbounds down first. It's a surveyor. Makes a lot of sense with Jinja. So here it would be trace 4, trace 4. I think we just want to go ahead and flip switch this to jack out. Get a lot of money on the way. They're down to 4 credits. We know they're drawing a Jinja in there. That's probably a Jinja. Could be in faction HHN punish. It's unlikely if they're on Jinja. That seems to be like, just want to jam and go fast. I'd be surprised. And we'll just play one of these. The reason to hold this is if we draw into our Masterwork, but the Masterwork will trigger on the turn it's installed, and then we have another one next turn, so whatever. If that's a Jinja, it's a nightmare, but at least we know there's not an ice on top of the deck. This gets really big. Good thing about Surveyor is that we boomerang it really easily. Looks like it's either not a Jinja or they didn't want to res for 1. That's a Jinja. And probably a Spin Doctor and server NGO front. Yeah, I think we have to run that. We don't want them to get more money. Then second advancement on NGO front is 2 credits, right? Because they advance for 1 and goes from 5 to 8. So it's actually only 2 credits in whole. So I don't think we mind that. We really want to Masterwork. It makes our deck so much faster, especially because we could check this like clicklessly. I think, do we want to deny them 2 credits? I think we do, considering they have Jinja. They've shown no economy so far. Yeah, that's gone. There's no reason installing Bankroll because that was going to get popped. And here we could Revolver as a hat. Here we can install the Misbones for 1. That's okay. Yeah, it's probably fine. We know that they have something in here that we want to deal with. Like here we could boomerang here and trash the whole remote server, which next turn I think we want to do. We have to pay attention because Jinja reveals all the cards. So we know what they're installing. Wow, not ice, not ice. Kind of want to run HQ. And I don't know what this is. I'm scared about server 1 having a defensive, like a Managarm would be a nightmare. Managarm makes a lot of sense because we spend credits, they gain credits. But here actually I think we want to run HQ. I think we run HQ here, right? This is the kind of game where Doof is good. Yes. Yeah, Doof is really good here. Want to make sure we access with at least 5 credits. Because Bolognas are very likely to be in here. 7 credits. A lot they can res. I don't think this is a deck that would be on Hydra. They're thinking about it. I don't know if they just want to res an IP block here. We definitely boomerang an IP block and not trace through just so that we can get a credit. It's technically free. Maybe we should put down the bankroll first, actually. Yeah, I regret that. We should put the bankroll down first. For sure. I keep forgetting we have this. We want to get this down and start poking. Okay. It's a food. Good. Doesn't tell us much about their deck. They could still be on Bologna. We'll keep drawing. Gamble's fine. If we're really worried about hard-hitting news, we can consider playing it, but like I think we're okay. I don't think they're in economic warfare. Another flip switch is nice too. Could have gone again. I think we could have considered going again. Yeah, you're right. That's another rhyme, which really doesn't do much. That's a Spin Doctor. Yeah. Full Immersion Rex Studio. What is going on? What? To Daily Quest? What? Hold on. I saw. Wait, we have Paul up in this list. Yeah, you're totally right. Hold the phone. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so this is a daily quest, which will gain the money, which is an issue. We know this is rhyme into rhyme, so they gain credits off this, and this is 7 strength. But if we boomerang it, we don't care. We could consider revolvering it, which we'd have to boost twice, so it'd be still 6 credits after we install. Plus this, so it'd be 10 credits to run this, and we could trash everything. The question is, what is this? We don't care. We just trash everything. We trash the server, right? Wait, I feel like we're gonna get baited into this. I feel like to some extent we want to run the Spin Doctor first so they don't shuffle all this shit back. I just don't know if we have enough time to do that. Because we do Sure Gamble, install Revolver. We have 1 Paul up. It might be an access trap on Rex Studio, but that's fine. We just access the Rex Studio. Like the issue is that we access the daily quest, then we access the Rex Studio. Like we don't have to access this card. And it looks like it's an asset, right? Yeah, it's not an upgrade. So I don't think we care what this is. So I think we do it. I'm just worried. Okay, this is, we always could pop this for credits. So this will be 10 credits, which again, this is 1, 2. Yeah, this is fine. I'm just going to run this first so they don't shuffle back in the stuff that we want. Because you can just not look at it yet, totally. We'll trash that. Because yeah. I think I might have another one in hand. Let's go. This is good. This is a good time where this is better than Bagalter, I'm pretty sure. So we know this is a rhyme. Let it fire. Oh, it's 8 strength now. What? Oh, did I goof the math up? Hold on. Did I goof the math up? No, I think we're perfect. More than perfect. Yeah, rhyme increases strength. I forgot. Yeah, totally. It'll be on 8, so we have to boost this to 8, so it's 2 for 6. We're fine. Man, shooting things is fun. So we're going to touch this, trash this, trash this. No action. Pay 9. Yeah, okay. Pay 5. It's all their money. Feels bad. I feel like we have to though. We can hit this for a credit. We can run HQ for a credit. Man, we should have put the bankroll down a year ago. Because we would have got a bankroll trigger off this. We would have got a bankroll trigger off the HQ run, off the server 1 run. Definitely a mistake. We could have been up like 3 credits here. But now they actually have to install, like clicked and installed for 3 credits on this server. And like at that point, they don't have to res the rice, but if all we're doing with is rhyme and surveyor, like a single boomerang deals with that. Like we don't care about the rhymes. We just boomerang this. Shooting surveyors is great. Archer's less fun. Yeah, Archer's 4 credits for an archer is fine. I'll take it. Here would obviously Destitute. A diversion would be pretty sick. We also could get hard-hitting news pretty heavily. But they have 3 cards in hand. And I don't know if you play hard-hitting news and punishment and Rex Studio and Jinja and whatever this card was. I'm kind of really interested to see what this card was. But I think at this point we credit, we install bankroll, run HQ, run archives. Or not credit, we just spy camera, right? Oof. Could try backing out and back in. I had no idea JTFQ is playing on a phone. That's wild. Oh, seems good. What was the card we saw from hand? Oh, it's a food, right? That's 1 influence. This is 3. Assuming they're on a full suite of Jinjas and that. So that's 6, 12, 13, 14, 15? No. If they're on full Jinjas, full these, that's 12 influence. So they have 3 influence to goof around with. No idea. Drag controls are tough on touchscreen over installing console and such. Yeah, even just typing on touchscreen is probably awkward to like hit the little text box and then start typing. Oh, they trashed the HQ ice. That seems fair because that's what we're going to capitalize on. Now we have no way to hit this because you can only break ice when you're encountering it. Can you overinstall canoles? Sorry? We also lose a boomerang from rotation, which is pretty rough. But at this point, I think we just credit bankroll, run archives. Oh, consoles? Yeah, Nisei. Sorry, I see Cat. Yeah, Nisei updated it like a couple months ago. You actually are now allowed to overinstall consoles, which we've seen nobody use to any effect. But I'm for it. I wonder if we're gonna see, like, I remember back in the day, like some noise decks that were running Grimoire and another console, and I liked it. Forbidden early console into monolith. Yeah, like rejig or whatever. Draw last click. Okay. Let's look at the top. Hedge fund. Okay, so we want to put some pressure on, so that's awkward this turn. I'm like super interested to see what's in archives. Now we've kind of committed. What is this card? I have no idea what this card is. Like they're putting a snare in here? This actually looks like a... It was a Rashida. This is also more influence. So that actually might be their full suite. 3 Jinja, 3 Satyr, 3 Surveyor, but I'm willing to be surprised. Let's try and get our value. We do get our value. Glad we didn't pop it. We'll install that for free. They're going to gamble off the top and they're going to have a huge credit advantage. But again, I still don't think they're on hard-hitting news. No idea what server 1 is. Clearly it's Space Camps. Man, Rashida, that's such a big investment. The full cost of this is increased by 3. It's just Imp makes this so hard. Like, it's either you trash the cards or you trash this. I don't know. It's a weird card. So now we can pop this for 3 credits. We can install our spy camera. We can also like install flip switch, run HQ with impunity, which is nice. This reduces the install cost. So with 0, we can install this. It's not a refund, right? Yeah, it's 1 less. That's good. So we can just install as flip switch, run HQ again, not be afraid. And we want to force them to res. We actually probably should, fuck. We probably should have done that last turn just because we know they're going to hedge fund here and we want to put some pressure on. So they have a hedge fund in hand. That's all we know. They drew. They did that after the mandatory. They did not draw. So there's a hedge fund in hand and a non-ice, assuming any ice they would jam on this server. And we just need to keep drawing. We have only 2 more boomerangs in circulation. We haven't found our masterwork, which would obviously be huge. I think actually we would draw first. A Reaver would be quite good as well. 6 credits to get through this. We definitely need to boomerang this. Maybe they're also running like maybe for 2 credits or technically 3 credits we get through a turnpike. That'd be nice. But like I'm assuming they're on surveyors, F2P, and I don't know what else they'd be playing. I don't know what's like really good game net ice. Like IP block is fair because a lot of people trace through it. And so they get credit on that. They're thinking. They drew last click last turn too. So their hand might be a bit awkward. I kind of want to just put down this thing and run. Because either we get 3 credits when we pop it or we get a successful run, which is worth a credit. And obviously an access. Yeah, I think turnpeg is the good one, right? Because we lose a credit regardless. And there's a trace as well. So we shoot that for 2 credits plus a credit loss. Card in server 1 might be an agenda. We haven't seen any tempo positive agendas, but they might be on the neutral suite. Yeah, and I don't know if they're really taking their time or just the phone's a bit clumsy, but it'll be okay. A Masterwork would be really sick. But I feel like we install run first. I feel like if they have an agenda, they would jam in here. So the HQ run is more just to force them to res. I'm assuming we're going to get last click hedge fund. If they do anything else, like something's really weird about their hand. There you go. Because maybe they wouldn't hedge fund if the last 2 cards were agendas. But I think they could have an agenda in here. So I'm going to install this and just run HQ. So we can jack out, gain 2 credits. If something bad happens, otherwise we get in, we get a bankroll, get an access. We also remove a tag with this. No further action. That's a Satyr adaptive. Okay, so we don't have to jack out. Let unbroken subroutines fire. This is the issue where like we're going to try and get bankroll money instead of setting up, which is going to be awkward. Oh, wow. Okay. And an SMC, which we definitely cannot afford. Reaver's what, 2 credits? Let's see here. Yeah, so it's 4 credits to pull the Reaver. Technically, it's only 2 credits. Actually, it'll be 1 credit once we get the SMC on the table, right? It was a spin. Wait, what's happening? It's a spin doctor. They drew a Satyr, which is out here, which is 4 credits. A card in server 4. It's a single advanced NGO fronted again. Okay. We have to run a lot of things. We know it's a Satyr. Again, if we get a boomerang, we're in a pretty good spot. If we get this down, Reaper says whenever you trash a card. Reaver says whenever you trash a card. So there are some ways that we could trigger everything here. Okay, so we install this. We have to have a credit to be able to threaten to trash this. Awkward. So I think we could consider just running R&D here. Yeah, and then we could SMC down to get the Reaver. We could also get the SMC down. Like, I don't know what the right ordering is here. I think with 4 credits, we actually would want to contest this. So I think we click for credit, then we run this. Hopefully they pop it. If they pop it, then we can put down the SMC. Then we pay 2 credits. We'll get 3 back. So we'll be on enough, right? We'll pay 2. Oh no, we actually need 2 credits to pay 2, excuse me. Okay. But this gets our Reaver, which sets up. So I think our next goal is just to get the Reaver up. So how do we get the Reaver up? If we install this, shit, we'd have to like pop the bankroll. I don't want to do that. We've already used our free install. Okay, so we'll install the spy camera. So next turn we'll start with click for a credit, then we'll install this SMC and we'll go from there. Rashid is really good for them. They can obviously draw a lot of ice, which will reveal with the Jinja if they really need to. I feel like they're feeling pretty good about this. A single Satyr is actually really hard for us because this eats our boomerang trigger. So we have to try and win off R&D, which again is quite difficult. So actually we could start here. Or we could click for a credit to keep our Reaver draw. I think our draw is more important. Nice. So this says the first time you trash an installed card each turn. Oh wait, actually that ate the trigger already. Shit. Oh, I feel really bad. That ate the trigger. I totally forgot that ate the trigger. If they score out of food, we're happy. If they score out of Bologna, less happy. I guess we have to draw. Because we've already trashed an installed card. And we want to do this on the corpse turn too. So remember to use the spy camera on the corpse turn. Prognostic, that's good too. We really need our masterwork. Please not a Bologna, that's good. So on their turn, we'll look at the top of R&D. Trigger everything. It's a spin doctor on the top of R&D. Earthrise worth considering? I don't know. Bless you, Maddie. If only you could spearfish. Yeah, boomerang is just good enough. Okay. So here we could consider bravadoing. We know it's a spin doctor. That's not amazing. It could consider getting him to res, which I think is good enough. And then if we pop the flip switch, we draw a card, gain 3 credits. I feel like that's fine. We can get the fermenter down after. We just want to keep 1 credit to make sure. It's an F2P. So we can't break any of these. We could shoot it. Add 1 installed runner card to grip, take a tag. I feel like we don't want that. It's actually not that bad. The tag we'd clear with a flip switch, which is actually credit positive. I wonder if we let them install card to the grip. What's that worth to us? I guess we'd lose the bankroll. Interesting. I don't actually know if we jack out here. I feel like we could take the card. If switch to get added to you, but we can just reinstall it, right? Like the next click we install it for free. So I don't think it's that bad. I really don't think it's that bad. The issue is that if they return the bankroll, we lose credit access here. But if we jack out, we lose a credit access. I'm gonna let this fire, I think. And reinstalling the Reaver is the worst thing. But that's not that bad. I think we let it fire. I think we can let it fire. Is that wild? I feel like I'm missing something here. I still think they res it regardless, but if this fires, if this fires, they can bounce something. If they bounce the revolver, that's fine. Then we get an access, which is worth a credit, and we trash the card. If they bounce the flip switch, it's fine. We reinstall it. Then we gain 3. I think that's fine too. Yeah, let's let this fire. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, I think we just reinstall the flip switch if they bounce it. I'm more worried they bounce the Reaver, honestly, because we haven't got a Reaver value this turn. I think bouncing the Reaver would be right. I hope they bounce the boomerang, but hey. Bounce revolver's free counters? Yeah, exactly. It's a tactical reload. That's you can fire. You can fire. Okay. Yeah, maybe we do want a turning wheel, huh? They know we know what this card is too. I don't know if that changes any of their math at what they bounce. I don't think it does. Hey. I think Reaver's the correct bouncer. I think Reaver by far is the correct bouncer. It actually costs us 2 credits. So we'd have to click for a credit likely unless we want to get our card draw, which I think clicking for credit to get a card draw is probably worth it. We also could have got a prognostic down here first, but actually might be right. I keep forgetting we have so many run-based triggers. If we did this, we would see the top of our deck, which is important. I'm worried JTF is off. Oh no, we're good. Let's see what they bounce. There's a lot of wrong targets. Yeah, that seems right. Yeah, we definitely should have got this down first. It's free. But if we need to reinstall this, maybe we'd appreciate it. No, you're good. No worries. Oh, if we trash this. Yeah, we want to trash this. We don't want them to get more ginger draw. Yeah, this is still a bit ugly. I think we'll have to crack the flip switch. What? This is 2 to trash? Why didn't no one say anything? This is 2 to trash? I thought this was 1 to trash for some reason. I keep forgetting this is 2 to trash. Yikes. Whoops. That was awful. Oh yeah, we got bravado. Wow. Okay. No, we're fine. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. Yeah, whatever. Massively credit positive. Running HQ again. We have a paperclip, so we get through this really cheap once we're set up. We haven't triggered our free install yet. We want to crack something on their turn if possible. We can always bankroll on their turn. We're at the point where we're basically spun up. So we definitely want to get this down. We definitely should have got that down first. The question is whether we get the fermenter down. I feel like we're okay on money. I think we just need more card draw. So we'll just draw once more. Boomerang sick. Again, Boomerang lets us charge this remote server. We know that they need to res this for 4 credits. It changes the math a bit. Like we can always run into this and like check out. Again, let's see what they expose off the Jinja. They just drew a spin doctor again, which is obviously a nightmare, but maybe they're okay drawing that. Bankroll, mind you, is 5 credits clicklessly. Like, so we're really not rushed to get the fermenter down. It's probably a spin doctor. If it's not, it's pretty awkward, but it looks like they might be on bigger agendas. So we'll see if they advance everything. We haven't seen seamlesses yet. Paperclip is 1 in 24. We have no mutual favor. We still have 3 sports hoppers, which are like draw 4, which is pretty wild. That's another full immersion wreck. I don't know what this is. Oh, that's a spin doctor for sure, right? So I think we're going to run server 5, then run HQ after they draw. Lock top 2 card stack. It's political operative into prognostic Q loop. Interesting. Political operative into prognostic Q loop. Interesting. We will draw one of them. Wait, why did it not offer? Oh, we don't have Masterwork. I keep thinking we have Masterwork. Where if we have Masterwork, we would have installed this on here to draw a card, but we still haven't drawn a Masterwork yet. Really awkward. Why are they on 1 credit? Oh, because they res the full immersion. What's their plan to like double daily quest? This is probably a spin doctor. Maybe it's in server 1. I don't know. But with 1 credit, I'm not worried of anything. Like thinking Urtica is fine. It is a spin. I reckon they'll pop it. Let's see if they shuffle back. There's 1 face down here. Yeah, we really need more card. We're so close to having so much card draw, right? Like we could have popped this on their turn. We could pop this to draw clicklessly. They're still on 1 credit. We just need the Masterwork. The Paul-Op is not going to help us. The Paul-Op is, it's actually worth playing the Paul-Op here. So I think we draw once. Boomerang run HQ. Yeah. Oh, wait, that's not enough clicks. It's okay. This will still be good next turn. But I think we would Boomerang run HQ here. They just draw 2 anyways. And this shuffles. The next card is another prognostic, which we don't need. I just keep forgetting that this doesn't draw. But it will draw once it... Oh, it trashes when you... Of course. Of course. We didn't have to click the draw. We could have just done that anyways. Oh, I'm silly. Yeah, we could have just installed this instead of clicking to draw. Whatever. We'll just get more card draw. At least we're drawing an unknown card here. We're sacrificing our access to this remote server. This gets us money. We installed it for 1, gain 3. How are you getting to HQ for Paul-Up next turn? We'll draw another answer. Don't worry. I'm hoping. But if we didn't draw there, we would have got it if we played that correctly. If we just installed Ran, we would have got the Paul-Up last click because we did not need to click to draw. A lot of learning to do in this deck. Worth it. Shuffle. Unknown cards. And we can click the prognostic on their turn. We're pretty confident. We have most of our resources out. We have Miss Bones out. We have 3 tech traders out. I'm not sure how many other cards we have left in our deck that are non-events. We have, I think, 2 Gamble, a Mad Dash, a back. So we can pretty confidently do that. So we know it's, hold on, we know it was Rashida. It's Surveyor, White Space. Fantastic. So we're going to reveal the top card. It's a spy camera. Install that. That doesn't draw us a card because we don't have our thing yet, but we can crack this on their turn. Tech Trader, Reaver. I hope this is considered their turn. It's a hedge fund on top. We got the Boomerang back. So there's the answer. So we can Paul up this daily quest. I honestly think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. But I think we Paul up the immersion, right? So here the question is whether we install the Dawkins Pass first. I think we do. So we install this. Then we install the boomerang. Then we run. Man, this deck is cool. Look at top 2. It's a Masterwork. Fantastic. So we need to remember to hit that. We've already installed the hardware, so we're going to do it on the corpse turn. Oh, wait, we're going to draw it, right? We haven't trashed a card yet. We're going to draw it. So there is some reason why we'd want a prognostic on our turn. Just so it's on the table. Yeah, I think we do. To this point, you've commuted so much to ice to remote. I feel like you can happily never run again and win off centrals. I know, yeah, totally. But I don't want them to have money. Yeah, we have to prognostic this. Just because I don't want to draw that. What was the next card? Does anyone remember? It doesn't matter. We're shuffling because of the boomerang. That's another thing we have to remember. We shuffle with boomerang constantly. Abigail, okay. 15 minutes? Whoa. Game point. Bologna? I guess it doesn't matter that we have the Paul up. Oof. Yeah, that was a huge run. I was just Paul up. I didn't think it'd go like that. That was a fun one. Ooh. Yeah, we definitely had to pull it out there because otherwise we would have shuffled. It's a thing I always forget when I'm not playing this deck in person. Man, this deck is fun. Makes sense. Look how many cards they drew and how many Jinjas they scored. I know, they've been drawing, and this is the biggest thing with like Jinja City Grid. The density in hand is often so high, right? Because they're basically saying any card that they draw as an ice goes on their remote server. So what is their handful of operations, some extra resources or assets, excuse me, and then like agendas? Too much greed for me. Yeah, I think you could push for a while. I was hoping just to win off centrals. The Reaver also looks sick. Like the Reaver's helping a lot, but this is a game where we did not draw the Masterwork early. And I think maybe that helps us, but like we'll draw one of these 4 cards. I don't know if you need this. The card's so good though. If you hit Reaver first, it'll automatically give the credits from Tech Trader. Oh yeah, Catherine, that makes so much sense, right? Because I do Tech Trader, Tech Trader, Tech Trader, Reaver. Yeah, that's very true. But that's how you learn your triggers, am I right? So do you want Ed Kim versus Ninja? No, I don't think you want Ed Kim. You almost never want Ed Kim for what it's worth. There's just an Anarch. There's easier enough ways to get that sort of disruption that Ed Kim gives. Things like Imp are common enough. Maw, Knob Curie. There's a lot of ways to do it. Thanks for the game. I think you got very early with the Tech Traders. Yeah, we got very, very lucky with the early Tech Traders. And you did exactly see the point that this deck shows up with its deck, where like in the early game, you're really struggling just to get to speed. But then once you get over that like imaginary hill, you're coasting. Now everything we do is to credit positive. Like we have 7 credits on a card draw and bankroll on the corpse turn. But like we need those hedge funds. We need those bravados. We need that stuff that pushes us to get to this point. Like we don't need early tech writers, right? We need early tech traders and economy. Quetzal would have been fun. Quetzal would have been really good for DJ Fenris because we can deal with the single Satyr every turn. We have a free HQ run with Docklands, which is sick. I'm glad the revolver actually worked out. That was cool. I'm not regretting not having fewer simul chips, but you can do like really cool things with the simul chips where like you pop them on the corpse turn after you pop a bankroll to get a Reaver draw and your tech traders to install another bankroll. But again, that might be too greedy. I feel like a much more testing has to be done to figure out like where the right line is of how greedy you have to get. But I want to play more of this. This seems like a lot of triggers, but oh my god, it reminds me of Geist, and that's really fun. Anywho, we did see our masterwork on the last turn where it really mattered, so we built the arm cannon. Count it. That's gonna be it for tonight. We've been streaming for a bit. It's past midnight, past my bedtime. So thanks to everyone we played games against today. If you're watching the VOD, hopefully you're having a good time. If you're watching live, thanks for hanging out. Always appreciate it. And we'll be back in a week. It is we got a store championship next weekend here in Montreal, so we'll be streaming on the Thursday before. Enjoy Lord of the Rings. Thank you, Macaroni. Again, huge thanks for the recommendation. It's been awesome. I think that's largely it. Hopefully you have some events going on right now. Your circuit breakers. Good luck with all that stuff. JTF, good game. Hey, cheers. I felt like I had something else to say, but I don't think I do. If you're watching this and you like this sort of content, if you want to subscribe on Twitch or notify on Twitch and subscribe on YouTube, it definitely helps the channel grow. We're getting to 5,000 subscribers, which would be really sick. And also, of course, we read all the YouTube comments and respond to them if you want to like enjoy that sort of thing. That's largely it. Take care, y'all. We'll see you in a week. Best luck, J Champs. Thanks, Macaroni. We still got a week, so we'll be here next week. Thanks for streaming. Yo, Sebastian, thanks for posting your deck. Love it. And your changes too. Hey, Ellen, good night.